use these big die and you can... Is that a 6 or a 1? Oh my god. Stop rolling 1s on national TV. You're trying to kill Dromai. Play towards your Blood Rush turns. Pop big dragons. Between 40 poppers and playing very methodically against Dromai, you should be able to beat her 95% of the time. You are the deck that is the hard counter to Dromai. If you have a bunch of Dromais in your meta and you're trying to beat them, I would play Rhinar into a Dromai heavy meta. I, as Rhinar, have beaten every major good Dromai player in my meta, and I recommend this deck if you're losing to them.
Hey guys.
It's good. Okay, let's roll a 6 real quick.
Meet the Savages.
Savage Beatdown. This is for 12. Savage Feast. This is for 6, but I get a card. I'm so hungry.
Yum.
This is Savage Alpha Rampage. We just went ahead and added Savage on there. But this is our best attack, technically, because it's our only specialization attack. Or maybe there was one that was lost in Dusk Till Dawn. We'll never know.
Brian!
This is a Pulping.
Savage Pulping.
Pack Hunt is honestly my favorite card in the deck. I have like 7 favorite cards in the deck. Pack Hunt is what I want in a Brood card. It has Intimidate on the card printed already. It's a 6, it's gonna block 3, and it doesn't require a discard. I always put this in Arsenal. This or Swing Big in Arsenal means that on a Blood Rush turn, you're always gonna have the super powerful turn of Claw, and then something in Arsenal at the end. 5 + 5 + 8 or 5 + 5 + 10 is either 18 or 20 damage from a Blood Rush if these are in your arsenal.
Are you tired of the same boring wardrobe? Is your lackluster performance showing on the outside as much as you feel it on the inside? Well, then you should try Ripped Shorts by Jimmy Blanco. That's right, Ripped Shorts by Jimmy Blanco. They'll give you the action points you need to succeed and look good while doing it. Action points are not guaranteed. Action points are only awarded on a roll of 3 or higher. Rolling a 1 may cause sudden death and embarrassment. Your result may vary. With Ripped Shorts by Jimmy Blanco, we say fuck it, let's roll, baby.
Ask me about non-block cards.
This card doesn't block.
More.
You see this moon? It's not a moon, it's a smile.
That's where you smile where you should be blocking.
Because we're having fun.
Are you trying to have fun at your local armories and you're tired of making block decisions?
No.
Well, this is a perfect deck to play because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 cards in this deck do not block.
Are you not sure what card to block with? Don't.
Yeah. Just grab 10 of these in a row and you'll die as soon as possible. These are some of your most powerful cards though, so it makes sense why there's not a block value because they open up avenues to do way more damage. Pulping is also my favorite. I have a lot of favorites. Pulping coming off of your Tear Limb from Limb is one of your strongest plays because Tear Limb from Limb says Pulping, whenever it's a full value, it's going to be 12 with Dominate. That's way better than another 6 attack with 12. Whenever your opponent can only block 3 of the 12, the 9 damage is coming their way, and it's super strong.
Who needs to block with prices like these?
I think my favorite thing that I always describe when I play this deck is like, it feels like I'm suplexing my opponent into the table. Whenever you do high damage attacks like Savage Beatdown for 18, doing a Alpha Rampage for 18 because it's a Hail Mary amazing thing. One other thing we can do is Tear Limb from Limb can hit a Swing Big. This will come in for 16. Half the time you'll be able to swing a claw in between. 16 plus 3 more is 19. Now there's another avenue to do 18. Whenever you're doing 18 damage attacks, it is super cool of like, I am literally suplexing my opponent through this table. Who cares about shooting 5 arrows for 4 damage if you can do an 18 damage attack with 1 card? It's almost like I hit them so much they exploded. It's almost like I hit them so much they exploded. It's like I ate their bodies. It's like I ate their bodies. Here's a sideboard. Humble, Command and Conquer, Warmongers, and Unmovable. Why are we playing these cards? Well, they are our tech cards in this. We want to play Humble against some heroes that I don't want their hero power to happen. This can ruin a Katsu turn. Just like my Flesh Bag ruined one Katsu turn, a Humble at certain times can ruin a Katsu turn. This could also ruin a Dromai. They can't give their dragons go again. They can't build Ash. It's really cool. Command and Conquer hits people's arsenals. They will give you 2 cards. Some of the times you're vanilla 6 damage with an Intimidate. It's not very vanilla if there's an Intimidate, I get it. But Command and Conquer is an on-hit. We don't have on-hits in this deck. Warmonger's Diplomacy is a blue. There's some times where you're like, I need to play this against a Rune Blade. Briar just kind of rotated, so it's not as important. Warmongers will kind of close the gap with you against the Visceray, though, of I can probably swing big after I Diplomacy, and I could, that helps me. Also, you could roll Scab Skins and Diplomacy at the end of your turn after you did some damage, which is pretty nice. You need to stop rolling ones, though. The final thing, Unmovable, is in my deck, specifically for I want to fuck with Azalea, and I can't say fuck. Okay, fuck Azalea. Unmovable is used for our friend Bravo and Azalea. We are trying to stop one of their huge attacks twice a game. This is literally game breaking against maybe a Starstruck or a Crippling Crush. It's also extremely good against Terra Sunder. Any one of those 3 that you hit, Starstruck, Terra Sunder, or Crippling Crush, blocking this with one of your blues feels so good, and swinging back for 6 is way better than you think it is. That'll help you close the game against those heroes. Nice. This card kind of sucks, but it's just to kill Dromai, and it swings Claw.
Why is Rhinar the best hero?
Rhinar is the best hero because he is more music than math. It's improvisational jazz. You are syncopation. You don't know what's going to happen next. You're excited for the solos that are about to happen. You know that there's probably going to be a swing big coming. You know Blood Rush is the roll of the drums, but you're not quite sure if it's going to be a lot of drums in the beginning or a big drum finish at the end. Part of the fun of playing Rhinar is I beat you with a deck that you don't believe is good. I am a good enough player to have the chutzpah to bring this deck not only, but play this deck at a level that can beat my opponent. Yes, Brute players can complain about how their deck is not consistent. As soon as we get another blue 6, we are the best people in the room. Like, I would say Flesh and Blood players, Rhinars are not dumb. They are just playing a different game than you are. We are having fun in different ways.
Hi.
Oh,
hello.
I don't need any cards, do I?
No, unless you want to hold one up and look good. So, did we have fun?
We had fun. We had fun with Rhinar, the Reckless Rampage.
We had fun with you. It's gonna be like 32 takes of you just doing that.
That's great.
When we shout things out. Yeah. Perfect. Perfection. We're done.
Cards in my deck that don't make any sense that are there because I have to play them. Jimmy Blanco's shorts sure are small.
The news.
A lot of news with.
Welcome back to This Month in Flesh and Blood, our semi-monthly, semi-accurate news broadcast featuring all the news most noteworthy in the world of Flesh and Blood. My name is Sam O'Byrne, joined as always by my co-anchor, award-winning shoutcaster Mitch Uber Leslie. Mitch, it's been a while. New father, Overwatch League is back in swing. How are you, my friend?
Yeah, pretty.
And now, on to the news. The Flesh and Blood World Championship is set to occur sometime this fall, and the community remains in the dark, desperately searching for clues as to the location of the exciting event. No word yet as to what is holding up the reveal, although Our news desk has obtained a photograph of James White as he attempts to secure a European location. As is evidenced by the photograph, things are looking grim.
Oldham has left us. The powerhouse duo of Michael Feng and Pablo Pintor combined their powers to send the grandfather of eternity into living legend status, a monumental happening in flesh and blood that was celebrated by players all around the world. The hero was criticised for its above-rate blocking ability and tendency to push games to fatigue, leading to uninteractive gameplay and a general sense of horrible, broken malaise. However, due to the timing of the banned and restricted announcement, Oldham remains legal in Classic Constructed, meaning we all at home have to watch this bullshit until July.
In other news from the Road to National season, everyone's favorite elemental Runeblade has survived Living Legend against all odds. Briar, Warden of Thorns, has ended the RTN season with 998 Living Legend points, leaving her, and critically, her weapon just shy of the Living Legend status that so many covet for her. When asked for comment on the matter, Brian Gottlieb is reported to have said, Mauve, Shrill, Rosetta for 1, 2, and 2. Also, go self.
Spoiler season for the next Flesh and Blood set dusk till dawn, just around the corner, of course, with some members of the community being given special early spoilers due to their affiliation with certain heroes. Heroes like Oldham, Briar, and even Shiana are receiving new specializations this new set, and the Aracne community has to be excited to receive one for the Contracted Killer. In exciting news, we here at AGE have been granted the permission to share that highly anticipated new card. Without further ado, the Arachne specialization from dusk till dawn, Suicide. Reports say that somehow this will see more play than Regicide.
Shocking. In financial news, after watching a YouTube video, I, Sam O'Byrne, have come to the conclusion that Flesh and Blood is a loot box game first and a TCG second. And you know what? I'm going to go onto Twitter to share my findings. Hold on. I'm getting word from our producers that my car has been keyed, my house burned down, my cat has run away, and somebody drowned my goldfish. And yes, I am hearing that Jeff Hoogland has blocked me on Twitter. I am glad to see that all parties have let cooler heads prevail.
Boy Wonder, Kid Power, 90-day XP King Brody Spurlock has made the journey to Los Angeles to compete in yet another battle-hardened, fresh off a journey to Singapore for the Calling, Pittsburgh for the Realm Games Roll, Antwerp for the Calling, Baltimore for the Pro Tour, Auckland for the Calling, back to Baltimore for the battle-hardened, and more events in more places than I can name. He'll come to your wedding. He'll come to your bar mitzvah. He'll volunteer for jury duty, as long as there's a 3 times XP multiplier. He has told the news desk that he has finally completed his 4 years of training necessary to prepare for the Calling Venus. Unfortunately, only one other competitor has signed up for the exclusive and absurdly out-of-the-way tournament, Pro Tour champion Michael Feiyu.
As Road to National season comes to a close, many players have been discussing if past national champions should receive automatic invitation to the next year's championships, as certain players are upset with having to defeat these world-class opponents just to make top 4 and receive their invite. Now, as the discussions continue, I have received the tournament notes of my 6-year-old cousin Johnny, who went to his very first RTN just this season. He's actually given me permission to share these with you now. Oh God. Oh God. The sky has turned crimson and the air itself burns. My lungs grow heavy with the weight of what is descending upon us all. For what is divinity but this terrible ending that approaches from on high? He has come. He has come, the angel of death, and I welcome this blessed end. In unrelated news, congratulations to Michael Hamilton for winning an RTN in Indianapolis.
The hunt is on. Dusk Till Dawn is confirmed to have a serialized artist-proof cards within their booster packs. This has led to enormous anticipation amongst the Flesh and Blood community as thousands seek to obtain this special artifact from their packs. It is thought that these cards will command an exceptionally high price, though there is sure to be some discrepancy between the chain and prism artist proofs. It is estimating pulling a prism proof would hold value equivalent to a jet ski or a small private plane, while pulling a chain could net the holder an entire Bolton, Breaker, Dawn deck in Classic constructed, as long as you proxy the Courage of Blade Hole.
I don't have one of those.
Yes, why?
The Arcane Games and Events series here is in full swing, with another entry in their tournament series happening here in this venue tomorrow, as well as an exciting $3,000 Players' Championship approaching this August. Not to be outdone, the Dromai Players community held their very first annual Only Dromai tournament just this last weekend, with 100 Dromai players registering for the invitational tournament from all around the world. Now, in an odd turn of events, however, even though Dromai was the only hero represented on day 1, only 3 managed to make day 2, and only 1 into the top 8. The event itself was won by Oldhim.
And finally, we here at AGE are proud to welcome Taylor Morrow of the Attack Action podcast into the casting booth for this battle-hardened weekend. We send our love to our missing brother-in-arms, Colin Honigman, one of Taylor's co-hosts on the Attack Action podcast. We here at AGE didn't realise that Colin had been replaced by Taylor until well into the second round, given their multitude of similarities, including their powerful moustaches, nearly identical glasses, and inability to win an armory since 2021. My name is Mitch Leslie, and I'm glad they've never gotten another spoiler. No, I'm not. Why'd you put this in? I didn't write this part.
Uber.
Shh.
Uber. This has been This Month in Flesh and Blood. Until the next time, good draws and good night. Never speak to me like that again. You understand? You understand what we're doing here? Never.
Okay, here we are, round 7 of whatever calling I'm at. And I'm just going to flip over my Vincent. I'm 1 in 5, 6 at this point, and I have a draw somewhere in there. Reactions?
Well, I'm going to be super competitive and very cranky anyway. And I'm going to play Tiger Eye. Oh, right. That doesn't work in the reaction step. Aw.
What did you do?
I wanted to play a block card, but that's not allowed.
I'm just going to take the damage. I don't understand how Vincent works.
Perfect, because the game
Odds
hasn't
are I
even
won't
started.
get punished. Odds are I won't get punished for taking this damage, right?
There's no way he's
This
got a
is-
pummel.
This is why we're at the bottom tables here at this whatever calling. Welcome to the reaction step. This is it. This
We
is our
have a-
show. We're going to
we
talk
have a-
about... Oh, you go ahead. I'll segue it over to Isaac. Isaac's going to tell you what the fuck's going on tonight.
Well, you seemed unsure. We're going to play a game tonight. This is our new game show, and it's called Living Lurkers.
Living
Why don't you tell them about what this game
Lurkers.
is?
Perfect. Okay, so instead of the other LL format, this is the new LL format where it's anyone on the Living Legend board who's sub 100 Living Legend points. So the lurkers of the leaderboard, the
Lurkers
bottom
rise
tier
up.
heroes. Yeah, rise up. And so we're going to fucking make a tier list with these bad boys and bad gals and bad peoples. And
Hell
we're
yeah.
gonna see what that's gonna be like, and we're gonna start pushing this as the new format that
We're
you
gonna
should be
put
playing.
All the debate to bed. So everyone shut up because
Yeah.
we're talking. This is the new tier list. If you're playing any other deck than one of these lurkers, like, are you even alive? No is the answer.
Of course I'm alive, Sleepy Joe. You fuck. Levia's clearly S tier.
Fucking A. Let's get into it. So it's a tier list. There's no F tier, but D is as bad as it gets, which is weird that it's green, but that's just how tier lists work.
It's because S is fire.
Oh, shit's
guess.
fire. And green is
I don't know why.
basic. It's like a primary color. Get fucked. Oh, so is red, though. Never mind.
Little bitch color.
Yeah, it has this nice gradient into green,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
I guess
slow.
makes sense. Okay, where do y'all want to start? Does anybody have any strong opinions right away? Should we just go left to right there or right to left?
Do we what these are all sub 100 living legend point heroes.
Mhm.
What order are they in? Like how many points? I know that like Dashio and Maxio and Teklovosio are all got 0 points. They just come out and nothing's ever happened yet. But you know, does anybody else have living legend points?
Let me take a quick look
They
here
do.
because we're
I
super
close
prepared.
that window. Damn it.
We're super prepared. I got it right here. 4 seconds.
I just sprung it.
So
Taylor
at
beat me.
let's see here. So
You win the first round, Taylor.
I'm in blitz. That's too far. Azuri is at the top with
Nice.
64.
Ooh.
Then Leviah Shadowborn Abomination. Clearly the S tier. 20 points. Arachne Huntsman, 10 points.
Ooh.
Riptide Lurker of the Deep,
Riptide.
2 points. And then Prism Awakening of Soul, null. Vincent Iron Maiden, null. Dash IO, new. Max the Hype Nitro, new. And Teklovasan Esteemed Magnate, new.
Is that
So,
really his name? Esteemed
Yeah.
Magnate?
Yeah.
That's got to change soon, though,
It's
with
stupid.
ProQuest season coming up. I mean, some of these heroes are bound to win a ProQuest,
That's true.
I feel like.
So we're getting in now
When you have those-
before anyone gets too hot in the meta. You know, that's wide open right now. Anybody can win.
Yeah.
Azalea can win.
Also,
she would have been here.
Azalea would have been in this list, but just crushed it and made her way out of the submarine onto the ship.
Some kind of magic
out to my
hand
wife.
appeared and just gave
Yeah.
Taylor a beer. Or a
Shout out to
cider.
my wife, the best.
Nice.
right.
Yeah, Azalea would have been here, but too good now.
All right,
She's
so
at
now-
136.
Yeah, she went from 36, which was deep in here, which I guess
Yeah.
would have been the top
To 136
or the second or
for
something.
winning one game. It's crazy.
Yeah, one single game is all she won. All right, so question now: do we go bottom up or top down?
Go bottom up, baby.
Let's go. All right, the
Let's
newest.
up?
go with Tech the Boston. These are the spicy ones.
Yeah, Tech Low. Where is our
Oh,
Tech Low daddy
these are-
sitting on this tier?
So, did we already clarify this is just within this meta, right? We're not
Yep.
saying these are S tier outside of. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
If
All right.
this were the meta, what's the tier list then?
I'm gonna put Techlo Daddy in B tier
Oh,
Wow.
dude.
because I think he's all right, but with his cycling of armor and heavy blocking ability, I think he has a pretty decent chance of like fatiguing / grinding out players who get caught off guard.
I think he probably sucks, so I'm gonna say C tier.
Mm.
Yeah, is there anybody that's going to be worse than him? I don't know. It's hard to say. I say I would also vote for C tier. He's pretty slow, and like compared to like Arachne smokes Teklovasan. So then probably so does Azuri, and I'm unsure if the split damage from Vincent stuff is also going to be able to handle. He's going to be able to handle it. So that's like 3 heroes right there that he just has a bad matchup against. It feels like.
All right, C tier.
So I
it
don't know.
is.
We might move it around as we move them up and down.
Yeah.
Obviously, these
All right.
mechanologists are going to be the hardest ones to evaluate.
Yeah,
Just
they're
in CC,
brand
he
new,
can
so.
he can blast out those armors so fast. He has like 3 block armors in no time, in like 2 turns.
Yeah, then they get shredded and they die.
Yep. And then you cannot
Right.
block
I guess
By
This is a
Arachne or
heavy-
Azuri with them. in fear of shred.
Assassin heavy meta, so that's a good point.
Yeah. Two of the 9 heroes who we got here.
Yeah. I don't usually think too heavily about shred when I'm deck building, but
You got to in this
You're
in the
right.
lurkers format, man. It's shred
Yep.
heavy.
Living lurkers, baby.
All
Let's
right.
go.
Techno
All right,
Daddy. He's got
Max,
room to grow,
tell-
but we'll see.
tell us about Teklo Sun here, Taylor.
I like it that I'm the expert somehow. Also, are we going to say, we should clarify also, that closest to the letter C is the top of the tier?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll rank them in tier level as well as by tier
Okay,
level.
perfect. Yeah. Add some nuance
Mm-hmm.
to this. I have a hard time figuring out how Max is not super affected against the assassins and Riptide and potentially Prism. You know what I mean? Like, he's got a boost, he's got a crank, he basically doesn't have a real weapon, you know? I think the Mechanoid is pretty good. You know, I think Mechanoid also maybe beats the Mechropotent as well.
Hold
One of those.
So-
to clarify, he can
Uh-huh.
use any weapon. He doesn't have to use Banksy, right? We're talking about CC tier here.
Yeah,
It's
that's true.
He could use the Teklo leveler.
Yeah, or the
Or a
pistols,
pistol,
or whatever you want. I'm
A
just
Navi
saying.
blaster.
or a blaster,
Yeah.
Not
or a
that he
barrel
will.
shot.
Nice.
Yeah,
Is he a Mechanoid deck?
yeah.
You
It
think
like
so?
happens pretty fast.
That's
yeah.
cool. Oh, I guess because
It
you need all the
happens-
hyperdrivers. Oh, but
Yeah.
do they go to your? Never mind. We don't need to discuss it. So, what do you think he is then? B tier? Is he
Mm.
C tier with his bastard father?
That's I like it that's our new headcanon here. I would, for me, looking at this, I might put him at the top of C, bottom of B.
Mm.
That's where I would that's where he feels like he's gonna go.
Yeah, I feel like Riptide might rip his tide up. You know what I'm saying? Like, but he is aggressive. There's not a lot of like aggression,
Yeah.
full on aggression in this Living Lurkers format. So, he could, just based on that, he could be pretty good in being able to present damage faster than some of these other heroes. So I don't know. I could
wanna
say
put him
even
in
maybe
D
A
tier.
tier. You want to say D tier?
Yeah.
Wow.
His hero power is not enough going on for CC, and I don't know. Prove me wrong, Max. Till then, you're just fucking D tier.
His hero power is turn 2 resources into 1 resource later. All right. So I was feeling B. Taylor said C.
When do you put it like that?
And then
No,
Isaac
his
said-
hero power is turn 2 resources into 1 resource later and 3 damage. Well, I guess not. That's 3 resources. 3 resources.
Well, if you
Or-
crank it, it's damage if you use his weapon. But if
Yeah,
you don't
so it's like-
crank it, then no.
For 3 resources, you get a resource back, 3 damage, and potentially
Another
an extra
resource.
resource backs. So
all right, fine.
Or-
I was being glib, but that's fine. I feel like if we average out B, C, and D, we're at C tier. So maybe he's like top of C, and we can discuss it later.
okay, cool.
All
Cool,
right.
cool.
All
Yeah,
right.
I think we'll place them, relook at it,
Yeah.
and
It's
fiddle
not
fuck
done
around.
yet. This is in progress.
Yeah.
We're working
it's in
through it.
progress.
All right, Dashio. I got strong feelings. I feel like she's fucking like A tier at least, maybe even
I
S
think
tier.
so.
She just
I think
pops
so.
shit off the top. Like
Yeah.
you get to look at the
And
top card. It's
the-
crazy.
It's really good, and I think in normal outside of the lurker submarine that she has the best potential out of the mechanologists. I know that's what a lot of people are saying, but then when you play against her and she gets a high octane turn off, and all of a sudden there's a fucking boom grenade out there and you got to block all these attacks and there's 6 action points and then the pistol comes in for 12 damage after all of that bullshit happens. You're like, wow, that's crazy. I guess you only have 15 cards left in your deck now, but I took a buttload of damage and you did a lot of stuff. So that's crazy. So yeah, I kind of feel A tier, maybe the bottom of A.
Yeah, I was gonna say A or B. I'm not. So yeah, I can go A. It's just kind of like I'm not sure. Like the card advantage is really good, and her shenanigans are really good. I'm not sure if she like quite has it in her outside of the submarine to be, to be excellent, because you got to have all those items in your deck, and they cost an action point to play, and they
Yeah, but
don't
we live
block
in
and,
the submarine now, so there's no outside.
Oh, totally. So inside the submarine, I think her shenanigans will. I'm gonna say B, but you guys both said A, so we can leave her at A.
Nice.
That's
yeah.
my vote.
And the SS Lurker, fucking Dashio, she's A tier, baby.
I like it that's Dashio. Love that.
Shout out to Connor, local player. Started calling her Dashio, and I love it. Now we all call her Dashio.
Love you, Connor. Great job. Is that the brute player guy?
No. No. He plays a lot of decks. He judges too.
Oh, okay. Nice.
One of our local judges. Important to the community. Next up,
Namaste.
Vincent.
Ooh,
What's
this
her
is so
epithet?
hard. Iron Maiden.
Iron Maiden.
Isaac, you start us off on this one.
You love Rune Blades.
Ooh, this is so hard, you guys. I'm gonna put Vincent at B tier.
Mm.
Solid B tier here, right? Because he has she has some serious limitations. Like always has to banish a card. You can draw these really dud hands where you can't really do shit, right? But then sometimes I've played against Vincent and been like, this deck is broken. This is stupid, because they'll just do like back to back to back, like 27 damage turns. So, with that potential power, even if it might not be super consistent, I think this deck has some strength.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like she runs Pummel. Pummel's good, and she has a bunch of cards that say "fuck your arsenal," and a lot of these lurkers like their arsenal. So
That's true.
Totally. It's like you take 1 damage and then you get hard punished for it, and you're like, well, I couldn't block 7 rune chance and 13 damage, so how was I not supposed to take a damage and get hard punished?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not sure. I haven't played against her enough or with her enough to know if that's like high rolly potential, or is that like, that's just what she does. It's Rune Blade, so hands can be clunky. So I don't know how much she suffers from that issue. So, I could see A, bottom A, high B, depending on I don't know, these other heroes.
Yeah.
But it's like, who runs Arcane Barrier really well? Like, the mechs kind of do, but I guess mechs do.
Not-
but they lose a lot.
Yeah,
of the
not
other cool shit.
Tekla-Vossen, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure Max has the resource curve for that. And Dash is going to have a lot of no blocks. So my guess is that, or how I see it is that a lot of those hit effects, like if dealt damage, all of the annihilates are turned on by all of the heroes, or all of the widespreads, excuse me, are turned on by all of the heroes we have up there already. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Either you can't, your game plan's fucked because you're Tekla-Vossen and you're like, well, I brought a robot to our magic battle. This sucks. And then Max is like, hey, I'm daddy's bastard. I don't have enough bitcoins to pay for your magics.
I've just got
And
this
then-
wrench.
Yeah, I got this wrench from daddy.
Call it bonksy.
I call it bonksy. I cranky and then I bonksy. Ooh, and then I play with my mechanoid. Woe is me against your magics.
I mean,
okay, so
he beats.
that's what he's saying.
She beats C tier heroes, but does she
Yeah,
beat
totally.
the A tiers S tiers that might be coming later?
I'm thinking that she's A tier with dash, because if dash is gonna have no blocks and have like kind of this specific combo, and I just feel like Vincett's like always gonna get damaged through. I don't know. Could be a really aggro, fast paced matchup. Who knows though? Because it's like Husk does dick hole against Symbiosis shot, blocks 6, but it doesn't block 3 instances of 2,
Yeah, but
Well, ideally, you wouldn't use it then.
Yeah, you would use a different
you'd use
piece
it
of
when they're about
equipment. But one of her best assets is her Husk.
Yeah, but
you
she's
know?
got grasp
Yeah.
too, and probably crown. So she blocks. She blocks.
She does. I guess she can use Carapace also.
All right,
So,
she blocks. She
ahead.
has a range of pretty good weapons. So like some of these heroes' weapons are a little. So maybe she's bottom A. I don't know.
I could be into that.
It's like almost the only one that has Arcane. Like Prism kind of does Arcane, but not like enough that you would likely run Arcane Barrier.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Is
Yeah,
she's
it's
the
not
only
enough.
one with that ability of
Yeah.
mixed damage.
She literally is the only one that's like now everyone has to tech for Arcane damage.
Yeah, totally.
This format
Yeah.
is totally different once Vincent makes it to like mid regular outside the bubble. All right, let's say bottom A for now. We'll revisit if we need to.
We'll revisit.
All right, Prism.
Colin, start us off with Prism, baby.
Ooh. I'm trying to think. Okay. This is hard because I think she could be good, man. I think she might be S tier. She's got angels. She's got heralds. There's like a couple decks that have like 6 powers. I guess 3 of the decks, so like a third of this meta might be able to do some popping damage, but like, Prism's about board state. So if you're wasting your good cards to like popper heralds and shit, like, I don't know. She can do some stuff. I'm gonna say S tier based on absolutely nothing other than Prism is dope, and she's got ward and a bunch of tricks up her sleeve.
Love it.
Wow.
I'm gonna say A tier.
Okay,
I think she's good.
she's
Lower
definitely
health,
good.
though.
I think.
You can get run over though before you get, like some clunky hands or like a bit of misfortune, and you're like dead pretty fast. So
32 health.
living on the edge there, but I
Yeah.
think she's she's good.
I'm gonna say D tier.
Wow.
Whoa.
So Vincent, innate 6s. Teklevossen, innate 6s. Levia, all 6s. Arachne, running 6s. Azuri, running 6s.
Yeah.
That's like five heroes out of 9.
Yeah, but she's playing a board state game though. If you have a lot of 6s, you're not like shit. You pop my herald again. This is impossible.
Yeah. Like she's playing out, her heralds and then also auras that you have to spend your turn destroying. And then angels who just soak up damage. Like most of these heroes don't go super wide.
You get bonked with Iris of Reality.
But
How do you like
Max,
that?
Max
Or-
goes very
like
wide, and
that?
so does Dash. And Dash does it with like action points,
That's true. I would say, if we are back, everybody. Welcome to the top 8 of the first AGE Open of 2024.
And my first casting with my dear friend Colin.
Is this the first one?
This is the first one we've done together.
We messed up. We waited till the very end to do this. Well, this is going to be great already. This is great already. You're all in for a treat because What's better than us? Who's better than us?
Literally no one, especially not that Blake guy.
Nobody answered my question, so it's gotta be us. Very exciting top 8. It's shaken up a little weirdly. Let's take a little peek at this. We got 3 Bravos, but they're all in the top bracket, so only one of them's getting through. So at least we won't have a Bravo final.
At the very least, yes, that's very exciting.
Same thing down at the bottom. We got 2 Kanos, so only one's making it through if they do at all. And then we've got some Fei and Bolton and a little Azalea and Bravo. Just some classic matchups in there. So it should be pretty interesting.
Absolutely. And we're going to kick it off with a Kano mirror, which is going to be a fearsome match to watch for those of you that have never played one before. I think Kano is everyone in Flesh and Blood has experience playing against a Kano, right?
And they have a lot of feelings about it, too.
Yeah, exactly. Either you're okay with it or it's the bane of your existence. But it's a completely different story playing a Kano mirror, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can speak from experience to that.
It's a wild game because you're pretty much at all times a little bit terrified of what could happen. And everyone's trying to not to overextend themselves. They're trying to set up. And we have 2 fantastic Kano players, Feiyu and Eugene, coming together. Eugene, widely recognized like the best Kano player out of San Diego for sure. Probably best in Southern California.
And my pick to win the entirety of AGE1.
There you go. Bryce is putting it down. Feiyu, just also very good. He's more up here in the LA area, but just as skilled. So this is going to be very, very interesting match. Let's head on into the table. Here we go. Kano. Let's
I love the flames.
boy.
Let's go.
That's my boy. Yeah, so this is going to be interesting. A lot of people like to say first to play either Wildfire loses.
And why is that?
Basically because once it hits, the other Kano can benefit from all the Wildfire bonuses because that just is applied to everything.
Right.
So it can get a little hairy in that regard. You know, I think if you can get the have a little issue with the camera, we'll get that fixed. If you can get the if you can catch them out with no cards, anything like that, once a Kano overextends themselves against another Kano, they're definitely in a rough spot and could be just blown up.
And so what is the strategy being in the Kano mirror? Like, if it's the first to play an Aether Wildfire loses, do you just not play your Aether Wildfires, or do you try to force your opponent into playing theirs?
I think a little bit of both, and probably, if you're real good, you're pitch stacking your own so that when you get there, you're going to do something completely nuts and not just hope that you're doing it. So this might be a bit of a lengthy game, so we'll see how it goes. I'm excited to see how these 2 players go about it. I believe the way to go, the equipment loadout will probably be Alluvian Constellas so that they can continue to gain value off of blocking Arcane, and then using the Waning Moon seems to be the way people are doing it these days, just because you get a little bit of extra value, and then on those Blazing Ether and I just totally blanked. Blazing Ether. I was thinking of Ether Wildfire.
Mm-hmm.
On the Blazing Ether plays, you just get a little bit extra bonus damage when you play and resolve those.
Yeah, absolutely. As they're setting up, let's take a look at these 2 deck lists and see what the main differences are. First of all, what I notice is the total number of reds and yellows in each of the decks. Let's see. Eugene has 1 more yellow than Feiyu does, and that yellow is very telling. It's a single of Chain Lightning. How do you feel about that card?
It is a card that is simultaneously amazing and total crap.
What are the instances in which it's total crap?
Okay, because of the text on Chain Lightning, it says, if you've played another wizard non-attack action, this deals 3 damage, and then you may play the next wizard non-attack action as an instant. So it has the conditional damage, which can be tricky sometimes. It's got to just kind of line up a little bit, and then playing the next thing at instant. So it just kind of requires, it's kind of card hungry, it's kind of combo-y, but it can be, when it hits, it's like amazing. It's one of the coolest cards.
You know what I noticed that's the same in both lists?
What is that?
A single of Nourishing Emptiness.
Oh yeah, I mean that's just classic. That's just classic wizard BS, you know.
Absolutely. Do you think is it too risky to deploy in the mirror?
I don't know. I think because they're probably looking to play this a little bit longer and maybe pitch stack for like a perfect combo situation, it might be okay.
Yeah.
I think in a faster game where you really need to play off the top a bit more, then it gets a little bit risky. I think they might play it. It is one of those things you're hoping to see turn 0 so that you can just get that dominate and then the 5 intellect. So, you know, we'll see. I'm curious to see if they bring it, and then, you know, we'll go from there. The other major differences I've seen, so, it's really very similar. 33 blues on both. That seems to be what Wizards think is good. 1 extra red for Feiyu. He's running 2 Chains of Eminence. Sounds like Eugene's going second. Feiyu's running the Chains of Eminence, which is very interesting. I don't know if he'll play it in this, but that's the card you name a card and they can't pitch, play, or block with it, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if he does that against the Wildfire, that could be his kind of tech against that. I'm not sure. It could also be anti-tech against, or, tech against the tech of Oasis Respite. Not totally sure, but these guys definitely know what they're doing. Feiyu drawing up a Potion of Deja Vu on turn 0. Love that.
Pretty sick, right? Yeah, getting to do a little bit of setup on your turn 1 is always good, right? Because Eugene's not going to want to overextend himself too much on turn 1, 2, right?
Yeah, this is going to be a delicate dance back and forth. Both players don't want to be caught out with no cards in hand, but they are going to want to poke at each other. And since it's turn 0, they can this one they can probably mess around and do a little bit more, but Eugene responding to Feiyu's Kano with his own Kano. But yeah, he's going to play that Swell Tidings and then get out his Potion of Deja Vu as well, which is pretty great. Potion Deja Vu just allows you to be more flexible if you got weird cards in hand that you would rather have on the top of your deck, and allows you to do some really nutty combo turns that is super skill expressive in my opinion.
Absolutely. And Eugene kind of noticing that Feiyu just has the 1 card left in hand, probably destined for Arsenal, trying to get a Kano activation, but he doesn't seem to want to banish what's on top of his deck. Maybe he found that Eye of Ophidia, which I'm guessing is in both their decks. Yeah, we both got Eye of Ophidia. Maybe he found the Eye of Ophidia, or maybe it was just something he didn't want to banish on turn 0.
Yeah, there's a couple cards that are just a little bit awkward. Maybe, I don't know how many 2-cost cards he's got in here, but, if something just too expensive or non-impactful, sometimes you hit a blue zap or something, and that's, you can play it, but is it really worthwhile if they've got 1 floating? And, oh, look at that. He's just going to banish an Aether Wildfire off the top. So Eugene just going to immediately disregard what I said and just try to win this game maybe straight up.
Well, and he's playing it on his turn, right?
That's
so
true.
That
That's very different.
Active.
Yeah. The text is not active. Sorry. Thank you. So just coming in for 4, which is just a solid attack. And I think they want to be chipping at each other. So not too bad, and allows him to turn on his Waning Moon and continue that as well.
Ooh, and an E-Pot. Very nice. Eugene doing some setup of his own.
Yeah, drew those 2 E-Pots in the one hand, which is a little bit rough. You'd like to see those spaced out so that you can get them all on the board, but, them's the break sometimes.
Indeed. Feiyu drew First Blood on turn 0, but nothing too crazy, right? What is the difference between 29 and 30 in a Kano mirror when the end of the game is going to be both of them throwing 60 damage of fire at one another?
Yeah, I haven't, I used to play more Kano, and I haven't played in a little bit, so I'm not totally sure what the mirror looks like. I feel like it ends up not being as huge of a combo. It just ends up being who can resolve the last bit of lethal damage first. So it becomes a lot of, okay, I'm gonna play this. Are you gonna do anything?
Yeah.
You know, and then they get in there and they just get the sneaky
Yeah.
snapback, which I don't know if either of them are running. Yeah.
Yes, Feiyu is
Feiyu
running
does
2
have
snapbacks.
you know, which is a great
Yeah.
way of just being like, oh, on top of your thing, I'm also gonna hit you. You know, because they can both get down pretty low, and then it's just whoever can resolve the damage first to win the game, which is always really. It's a little tricky, and it's pretty exciting when you're doing it. So.
Yeah, no doubt. And there's going to be a lot of posturing being done with that Alluvian Constellus, right? Because ideally, you're just blocking a little bit of arcane damage each turn to get off those free Waning Moon triggers, right?
Yeah, exactly. You know, just the value they get on that. We're having a little trouble with our camera delay a little bit.
So we'll just see if we can identify what's happening based on the faces of our players here until this gets resolved. Looks like Eugene's doing a lot of thinking. Looks like Feiyu is kind of just looking around the room aimlessly. So it seems like the ball is in Eugene's court at this point. Kind of taking a look at his arsenal card. Yeah, no, this is good. Oh, he must have sent some damage because he just put a die on the board. Feiyu scratching his head.
Just hoping this camera.
Man, Eugene's hands are quite smooth, aren't they? I've never noticed that before. He seems like such a rough and tough guy when you're sitting across the table from him, you know? Looks like he lotions for sure. Here we go.
All
and
right,
now
we're
back
back.
up.
We're back. It looks like a Swell Tiding came out and then a Waning Moon. Both good cards. Swell Tiding just a strict upgrade from the Voltic bolts we used to run, because you get that Ponder token if you surge it.
And how often are you actually because it's in this match they don't have Crucible of Aetherweave.
Yeah, so
we're
this one it
probably not
doesn't
gonna get
happen
those
as
search
much,
triggers,
but
right?
it's still just a good 2 for 5.
Absolutely.
So,
I mean, a 2 for 5 with text on it is always going to be better than a 2 for 5 without text, right?
yeah.
That being said, Voltic Bolt's art is so sick,
Yeah.
and I don't think there's anything more quintessentially Wizard, right?
Yeah. Wizard, some of the Wizard art is some of the best in here. Is it frozen again?
Yeah, because Feiyu's hands are definitely not in that position in both places.
All right, Justin's looking at the camera. We'll get this taken care of. Yeah, so the text doesn't come on there. It is just a strict upgrade. I think after Waning Moon was released, I wanted to keep playing Crucible. I was shown the error of my ways multiple times because the value you get from just being able to play one card and then Waning Moon is just much better than the buffing it. It feels weird on your like kind of bread and butter Kano stuff like Sonic Booms and other things that you're used for coming in for like 4, but then they start coming in for 3, you know, so it's like your math gets all weird.
Totally.
You know, for me, I've always been kind of programmed to add the +1 as a just part of what I'm doing as Kano. So that was a harder learning curve for me. But I think once you get used to it, it's just better because you're just going to do more damage with a little bit less.
And the Kano mirror math is already so much harder, right? Because there's like a lot of extra arcane barrier that's built into your normal equipment suite anyway than you would see in a lot of your other matchups, right?
Yeah, totally. But then you start using that equipment. Like if you break Storm Striders, if you break your Metacarpus nodes, that goes away. So you have to start factoring that in.
100%.
So once you try to go for something, you can lose access to these things, which is pretty terrifying. So it's like if you don't get the kill. Okay, so Eugene just off the top doing I think we can
We're
go.
still looking good, believe it or not.
Looked like we had a Swell Tiding and then a Waning Moon, and then it looks like he got a Blazing Ether out there. Not sure what the order of those things. Probably one of those things was a Kano activation. The other was just played out of his hand, but that's...
And I think Eugene had indicated for us that the Swell Tidings had hit for 1, the Waning Moon had hit for 2, which would mean that the Blazing Aether comes in for 3, yeah?
Yeah, I think, he did have a 3 on there. So that's definitely... You know, it's not the most impactful Blazing Ether, but I think in this matchup you do want to get that chip in there however you can. I think it's more important that you're just not leaving yourself wide open.
100%.
You know, because especially once you go for something on your opponent's turn, that means when it comes to your turn, they're going to have 4 cards, and you have like 1 or 2 cards in hand, and that's when things get real dicey.
Absolutely. I mean, and then Kano kind of feels the issue that all other classes feel against him. Like, don't get rid of all your cards. Sometimes you just need to IP yourself in order to stay alive, right?
Yeah,
Otherwise, here comes the big flames.
Absolutely. So it is. All right, coming back in here, we got an Ether Spindle, I think that is, which when you hit, you can opt, and then he's coming in with another Swell Tiding. Eugene just kind of drawn pretty hot on his turns here, it seems like.
And one of those must have been banished by Kano, right? Because we have 3 blues in the pitch zone. Yeah. Cool. So Feiyu kind of taking the back seat here, being the blocker in this game. Looks like a total of 3 damage gets through here. Eugene doing a fantastic job of aiding Colin and I on the casting side of things by indicating damage. We appreciate you so much, Eugene. This is why you're my top pick for this tournament.
It's a smart move, honestly, I think, because once you start keeping track of it, you're basically telegraphing that you have Blazing Ether. So if you're always keeping track of it, you keep them on your toes, never know what you're.
That's an interesting bit of mind gaming. Feiyu trying to recover some health here by drawing 2 cards and gaining some life here.
Yeah,
go back up to 24. Toma Fendel, pretty good card in general. Amazing card into Kano.
Yeah, it's good. Let's see. And then Waning Moon is also just good because you can just play that Toma Fendel and then still do some damage. We'll see if he does a Kano activation as well.
Looks like there is an E-Pot in hand. Maybe it's just some more setup.
Yeah, well, he doesn't have an action point, so he can't play it, but he might try to Kano to just poke a little damage and then try to get that E-Pot in Arsenal. But here we go, Lesson in Lava. This is the Kano. Wait, is it Kano specialization? Yeah, I think it is.
I believe so, yeah.
Yellow comes in for 3. If it does damage, then you can search a card from your deck that is cost equal to or less the damage dealt. And it's just one of the best cards. Any card that lets you tutor is pretty sweet. So
100%, especially in a deck that is so combo oriented.
Yeah, it's very hard though. If you're trying to pitch stack, it can totally ruin your plans.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you got to know if it's like if you're actually going to get to your pitch stack or if you're just trying to win the game, because that can really affect what you're doing there.
Ooh,
and then
Eugene coming in with his own Toma Fendel. Pitching a red though, critically.
Not too bad, though. He's going to gain 4 life and go up to more health than he started, which is pretty good. Feiyu leaking a bit more life, and now he's got 4 cards in hand. So that last Toma Fendel turn, just leaving Eugene the space to kind of do the same thing but better, and with enough cards in hand that he can probably do a little bit more damage as well.
He's tickling that Waning Moon. Wonder if, okay, we're going to cash in Illuvian Constella's tokens to go ahead and send Waning Moon for 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Illuvian Constella is just like such a great card. Really, really cool. I love when people target themselves to activate it turns.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're always just like, wait, what happened? Oh, yeah. They
adds such a massive amount of flavor to these wizard mirrors. And it wasn't printed until Uprising, right?
Yeah.
That was when that card came in. What were Kano mirrors like before that?
I mean, we probably just run Tunic and, I think Waning Moon came in Uprising as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was more Crucible focused, so just a little bit different, and less, probably, I don't know if they were slower, but yeah, just a little less efficient on those off turns. I think Waning Moon really just made it so that you can at least always feel like you're doing something.
Yeah.
So
this is really interesting. Eugene just passed back to Feiyu with 4 cards in hand, tucked 1 into Arsenal. Doesn't seem to have gotten value off of the majority of his hand. I wonder if he has something set up that he is trying to bait Feiyu into.
All right. Well, hard to know if this. Okay, I was gonna say, is this Feiyu's turn?
Yeah. I just saw Eugene draw
okay.
up, so.
Okay. Yeah, that's always the thing too. Of like, you can pass with an action point and then just see if they do anything and then do whatever.
Oh, and then they kind of just go, okay, cool.
Yeah. Then
I'll
they
take
play
my
their
turn now.
cards and you're like, oh wait, I'm gonna do something.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Yeah. So that can happen. Either it can be weird cards or he's got like a combo. Maybe he just drew into the combo and is like, I can do this if Feiyu.
Wow, and he just takes all of that. He's got to have something good in that grip.
Oof. Yeah.
Look, he's just laying his cards down on the table saying, you're not getting any of these unless you really make me give them to you, right? And he just takes 2. Oh, yeah, he's just saying, all right, Feiyu, give me that last card in your hand, and I will show you what I can do.
Yeah, this is where things get scary for Feiyu, because if Eugene's got it and Feiyu doesn't have enough gas to try to come back, which with 1 card in hand in an arsenal, he really can't hope to, counter much. I think you really okay. All right.
Yeah, so Feiyu, sensing the danger in the air, just goes, I'm going to keep this last card in my hand as defense or just as like a failsafe in case Eugene decides to pop off, passes it back to him. A lot of posturing, a lot of kind of feints and ducks and dives and dodges in this matchup,
Yeah.
most of which I don't completely understand, but God, is it fun to watch.
It's scary when Kano just says, "Yeah, I'll take it," and you're like, "Oh no, what are they gonna do? And
Yeah.
Is it gonna be on my turn or theirs? Who knows?" So, back to Eugene's turn. We definitely need a turn marker and then like a priority marker for Kano mirrors.
Yeah,
It would just be
exactly.
like we can just ping pong that thing back and forth. So, Tome of Aetherwind, one of the other most fun cards to play. You're just like, I will draw cards, and drawing cards with Kano always feels dope.
I mean, we're all card game fanatics here. Like, who does not love to draw cards in card games, right?
Yeah, just with Kano, it's like you've always got a way to pitch stuff to do cool things because of his ability. So I feel like it's just like enhanced on his in his deck when you have the ability to draw more cards, because you're like, well, I'll just keep Kanoing and see what happens.
Yeah, and a lot of time, it's good that you mentioned that, because it's like with Kano, Kano's a weird hero in that a lot of the time you don't want the cards you want to play in your hand, right? Usually you want them on top of your deck so that you can activate Kano, reveal them, and play them at instant speed. When you have red cards in your hand, it's usually a detriment to you, right? Like, you want to be able to pitch the cards in your hand to find the red cards on the top of your deck and play them out. So the all that to say, the tome is really interesting because it kind of fixes this constant need for resources that Kano is always craving, right? Just give me more energy to send more lightning bolts at my opponent.
Yeah, totally. And it's even good when it's like you just play it as an action too. You're just like, well, there's a chance I can draw a bunch of blues and still do a bunch of stuff on my turn. So it just feels good. But when you Kano it, it's just chef's kiss,
So good. and there's no way Eugene could have known that was on top of his deck either. So the feeling of finding that tome on top of the deck must be really, really nice.
Yeah, that's just why we play Kano.
That's right.
It's that high we're chasing.
Here we go. Looks like both modes are draw cards, as we kind of suspected.
That's right. I'm one who sometimes does the buff one just because sometimes it works.
Maybe to get that trigger on those swell tidings, right?
Yeah, so,
Which you can't imagine an opposing Kano is ever going to let you get the surge trigger, right? But because they know the value of a ponder token in Kano.
Yeah, it's just strictly good.
Another Kano activation. Finding a red Aether Flare, that's a pretty sweet find. Deploying it here would have been more ideal to see that on the front of this combat chain, shall we call it. Feiyu just says, nope, I am not letting any of this recursion of arcane damage happen on this turn.
Yeah. See, this is where the Crucible, you feel the lack of the Crucible, is because normally you'd be like, oh yeah, it's coming in for 4, but no, it comes in for 3, easily covered up with a blue card. Right, doesn't know. Or does it come in for 4? I'm forgetting now.
It seemed like it came in for 3 because Feiyu just pitched a blue, and that was that.
Yeah. So it's that kind of stuff where you just feel like your cards are a little bit weaker, but but as we said, when Waning Moon just strictly ekes out a bit more value over the length of the game.
Absolutely. Speaking of eking out value, Feiyu sitting with 3 counters on the Illuvian Castellus, and Eugene sitting with none. Feiyu's got 1 card. He looks like he's trying to pass it back to Eugene on his turn and draw back up, seeing if he can get Eugene to extend himself out here a little bit, or maybe he's just bluffing that he has something useful in his hand, and is saying, hey, Eugene, you want to put your money where your mouth is, or let me draw back up? And looks like the answer is draw back up.
Yeah.
So now back over to Eugene's turn. What are we
Yeah,
gonna
it's
see?
like you just
first?
never want to have no cards in hand against
Yeah.
Kano.
And there's that beautiful nourishing emptiness coming down with a full grip. So Eugene's got 2 cards for defense if he needs it. Feiyu is facing down this dominated attack, which will give, speaking of liking a lot of cards, going to give Kano an extra card at the end of his turn if it's not blocked out. Looks like it's indeed going to hit. 3 damage getting through. Feiyu at half of his beginning life total. Kano activation here. Show us the card. No. Oh, devastating. A couple more technical difficulties here. And get this sorted out.
Wireless technology, come on.
Back in my day, we had coaxial cable, and I don't remember anybody complaining.
I was like, we're frozen too. Oh, my God.
No.
Yeah, okay, we'll get that fixed up. But yeah, you can just see just them going back and forth, being like, okay, well, are you going to do anything? No. Okay, I'll draw up. Every time you pass, especially when you have that one card in hand, you're just like, I really want to. I think he had an E-Pot too. And it's like, I really want to play this,
Yeah.
but I know if I just go no cards, you could just lose on the spot for sure.
100%. And maybe he's feeling that the pressure even more, knowing that Eugene's going into a 5-card hand.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, seeing that come back is definitely
Oh, into a lesson in lava. Back to the action. That's a pretty fearsome look as well. And 3 of the damage. There's that chain lightning that we were talking about.
Yeah, chain lightning always better off a Kano activation and not when you draw it. Just because, when you play it as an instant, much easier to have played another card. So this is this is where you can do some spicy things, especially if the card in Arsenal is something that he can play after this. It looks like Feiyu blocked 3 off the Nourishing Emptiness, but it hasn't pitched against anything yet. So it's got 3 cards in hand. Very curious. I don't know if... oh wait, no. Eugene pitched 3 cards, he Kano'd 2, and then he played the Nourishing Emptiness. Okay, so he doesn't have any cards left, so I'm curious
correct?
if he's going to crack... No, I don't think he can afford it. I think it's just going to go on top of his deck, and then he's going to draw it next turn, unless he has a card that I'm missing.
I don't think so. He could deploy the card from Arsenal as long as Lesson in Lava must have been Kano'd, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
we have all of his cards in the pitch stack besides the Nourishing Emptiness.
Yeah.
Okay, looks like we're just going to go ahead and pass. I was going to say maybe there's a world where Eugene pops that E-Pot just to try to pressure all the cards out of Feiyu's hand because he knows he's going into a 5-card grip next turn.
Yeah.
And then maybe he can actually go for a wildfire combo without any risk to himself. I mean, 24 life is a pretty significant advantage here against Feiyu, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard with Kano because he can just kill you from such a high
Of course.
total, but did he draw 5 cards? He did? Okay. It just couldn't count it. Yeah, but it's E-Pot is great in the mirror as a defensive kind of tool as well. So I imagine he'll want to hold on to it. It just means that he has 2 resources to block Feiyu even if he goes all out. It definitely can be used offensively, but in my opinion, it feels like more of a safety net sometimes.
Absolutely. Those safety nets being so important when one of those resources pitched by the E-Pot can mean 6, 7 damage sometimes, depending on how intensely that combo goes off.
Yeah, totally. It large returns on blocking any hit points off of a Aether Wildfire. So
you finding a blue Aether Flare.
That's a blue one. Oof.
Yeah, it's pretty unfortunate.
Yeah. Kanoing a blue card always feels a little bad.
It is kind of interesting for Eugene because it does force a card out of hand without as much reward. Maybe he's fine with that, though, because at the end of the turn, he's already got 2 resources in the pitch. Maybe he can use that to sneak off a cheeky Kano activation into Waning Moon or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
He says, no, I'm going to take that 1. Don't really care. And then Waning Moon will then come in for 3, correct? Like the Aether Flare connected?
I think so. I think it just says the next arcane damage you would do.
Yeah,
So
that's what I thought too.
yeah. Looks like he's still got a card in hand, passing priority.
Yep.
All right. So going into Eugene's got 6 cards to play with. That's terrifying.
Indeed so.
Let's see what this guy does. Let's go. Kano. All right. Kano right off the top. Ooh.
Ooh, not an instant banish.
Yeah.
Check the graveyard first. Is that a good sign or a bad sign?
All right. Flare does.
Lesson in Lava.
Oh, yeah. There we go.
That's one of the better cards you can find in this situation, I think.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Playing it with that Ether Spindle, coming in for 3, threatening who knows what, you know? That's what Lesson in Lava is great at. You're just like, you let this hit, I could do so much right now.
Yeah, I wonder if the most... He's still got so many cards in hand. I wonder if the most tempting one is Blazing Aether, just because it seems like on your own turn, that's the card that can pop off the most.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of depends if he's trying to, you know.
Doesn't matter, because Feiyu's just going to say, I'm not having any of that. He knows the power of that card, and he doesn't want to deal with it.
Yeah, so, you know, it doesn't seem like pitch stacking is a concern for either of these players right now, just because I think they've both hit the Lesson in Lava reshuffle. Doesn't look like Eugene might be going for... oh, wait, no, it looks like he blocked all of it, so...
Maybe an Aether Spindle is the best thing to find if your opponent lets 2 damage through. Just to cycle through that deck and find the cards you want, put them on top.
Either Spindle is a great tool for cycling through your deck and finding the combo you need. But again, it's like different than any other matchup where like you don't want to find the combo too soon, because if you don't kill them, you're putting yourself in a pretty dangerous spot.
Interesting. Looks like Eugene is using his action point for the turn to do another Tome of the Aether Winds, choosing both modes to be drawing cards.
So he started with 5 cards. He's got 4 cards in hands. He's played 2 cards and he's pitched 2 cards.
Cards.
This is Kano gaming.
That's right. Feiyu still with 3 cards in hand with which to use for defense. And a Waning Moon on the stack, but he hasn't let it resolve yet, I don't think.
Yeah, there we go.
There we go. Okay.
So only 2 on your own turn. Feiyu taking that, saying, I don't trust you with these cards. I might need to block something better.
Absolutely. Check the graveyard again. Interesting. What could Eugene be thinking right now? Is he thinking like I have one more thing I could do, but I'm afraid of overextending?
Probably. It's like he could probably Kano and, hope he gets something, but it's kind of risky. If it's not a 0 cost, he's got to, pitch both cards. Maybe he has like a blue and a red. If he doesn't have 2 blues, it gets even more weird because you might not be able to pay for whatever you pull. So Feiyu just going to straight up play Ether Spindle, which is just good. Just a good card.
Absolutely. Both players seem to understand the value of holding on to 1 or 2 cards at the end of their turn every single time, just to donate to the, if you try to kill me, I am not going to let you, right? And you could overextend and kill yourself.
Yeah, I mean, if the Ether Flare doesn't kind of backfire on you, if you blow up all your equipment to try to get there, that's where you really are leaving yourself vulnerable, because you can no longer block as much arcane barrier, so you're just going to leak a lot more life. And then when you do go, when your opponent tries to go off, it's pretty crazy, so it's always scary, because you're just like, and I think that's even why Feiyu's just like, he's putting his 1 card out there being like, I have 1 card in hand. So think about what you're trying to do here.
Yeah, he likes to present it.
There's no cheeky, oh yeah, I've got this 1 card. It's like,
Eugene's doing a lot of graveyard checking. I wonder if he thinks he's got it. Spindle's still on the stack, too.
It's it's my favorite thing in the Kano mirror is when the spells don't resolve and they're just all layered in there. You're like, okay, everyone plays all their things, and then you're like, all right, let's see how this goes. Because
Okay, this is an amazing first find here.
Yeah.
Kano activation into Gaze the Ages. He's going to play that Gaze the Ages at some point here, fix the top of his deck, and then get a blue back to his hand. Oh my gosh, finds a red Aether Flare. This is looking really good already.
Here we go. Is he gonna third Kano activation?
Maybe
Nope.
put it on the stack and then play the Gaze the Ages.
Hmm.
No, just go ahead and deploy the Aether Flare first. Say, show me the blue, Feiyu.
No, I think he might be holding. Yeah, he's holding. He's
Okay,
playing Gaze
okay.
the Ages. So classic Wizard mood where he's played the card, but it has not resolved. But now Gaze the Ages text has turned on, so he'll be able to opt to, and then when he's done, that card goes back to his hand, which is just the best sometimes.
Looks like he also let Feiyu's Aether Spindle resolve and hit him. I just saw their life totals tick down.
That's
Which is interesting. That
I don't think
shouldn't
that-
happen
I don't
until
think that
the
works
end
that
there.
way.
Maybe it
Maybe
was a
the-
correction on life totals?
yeah, it might have been a correction on life totals.
Okay.
Because that shouldn't resolve until after Eugene's cards resolve, since they're higher up on the stack.
Because the stack resolves top down.
Yes, that is correct.
Exactly as the economy trickles down.
First in, last out.
That's right.
This ain't no FIFO buffer.
I'm sorry, I was joshing with you. Did he put those cards on top of the deck or bottom? I missed that. From Gaze the Ages.
I was awaiting moon. I said, thank you, chat. I didn't see what he did.
Okay. Oh, yeah, because the Alluvian Constellus ticked down, I see, for the Waning Moon. Looks like, is he indicating that he's activated Metacarpus nodes, or is he just indicating that he can?
I think the trigger is on the stack, so I'm not sure if
thinking
he's
about it.
resolving it yet, but he's showing that he can. It's Feiyu's turn currently. This is all in response to an Aether Spindle play. Feiyu's
Which is
got
still on the stack,
Yes.
awaiting to tickle Eugene down to 13.
just a little tickle tick. And then here we go. Another Kano activation.
From that free blue he got by playing the
Oh,
Gaze the
okay,
Ages.
so
Oh my goodness.
I'm guessing he opted that off his Gaze the
I would have to
Ages.
assume, yeah.
So this is if he's got Blazing Aether in Arsenal, this might be game over, especially with the combination of Aether Flare and Aether Wildfire being able to, double buff that Blazing Aether, which is just nasty.
What could Feiyu have in, what combination of cards could he have in his hand and arsenal to punish this Aether Wildfire here?
Honestly, not a lot.
I mean, would it
It is. I wonder. I'm curious if no, because he's already played the Aether Spindle, so the Aether Spindle won't benefit from the Wildfire buff. But he doesn't have enough. I mean, if he can survive, and the Aether Spindle fully hits, and then if he can Storm Striders and play like his own Blazing Aether or something,
Right.
Then it could be buffed by the Wildfire and the Spindle, maybe coming in for.
But you would have to, Eugene would have to run out of cards and have already done 9 arcane damage.
Yeah, no,
basically.
it's not gonna. I don't think Feiyu definitely can't like counter kill Eugene here. I think it's more of a he's got to survive. But he's gonna crack the Ragamuffins. He might have a red in hand.
Yeah, that must mean what that is. That must be what that means.
So he's gonna draw a card and then put one card from hand back on top of the deck. Yeah, it did.
I think
look
I might
like
have seen an Aether Wildfire, huh?
Yeah, it might have been a Wildfire, which is unfortunate.
Andrew Rudin in the back demonstrating how he feels about this game with a massive yawn.
It's been a long day.
Absolutely. And Andrew himself very accustomed to games that go long and into draws.
Yes.
He's our resident drowsy.
Thank you, chat. Aether Spindle would benefit from the buff, so that that could be interesting. I don't know if with that buff, I don't know. I can't do the math right now because I'm talking at the same time. But it's this doesn't look good for Feiyu.
Because we still haven't resolved the Aether Flare, right? So Aether Flare is going to get that buff, and then even buff Eugene's next wizard non-attack even more.
Yeah, so I think we're doing 2 here. So Aether Flare is going to come in for 6. Or is it just 3? I forget. I keep forgetting.
It's looks like Feiyu did find the blue. He went ahead and blocked 3. He used the Metacarpus node. It would be 4 on the Aether Wildfire. Now it's 5. Feiyu blocked 3. 2 has gotten in, which means, okay, we're popping the E-Pot. Go up to 3 floating. Ew, here comes a Waning Moon activation, which does benefit from Aether Wildfire. Or no.
No, I don't think it does.
Seems that is not the case.
No. It's just coming in for 3, but it will buff up the Blazing Ether that is probably in his arsenal.
Oh my goodness.
And so Wildfire is coming in for 5.
Feiyu scratching his eyebrow like, can I die now?
I think this is it.
Yeah,
Storm
shields are
Striders,
completely down.
Blazing Ether, good game. There
Wow,
we
what
go.
a amazing setup from Eugene. I don't think pitch stacks were even a factor in that game, right?
No, not at all. I think just careful playing and just like understanding value across the game. I think Eugene did a really good job at not worrying too much. Like, you know, he saw that Blazing Ether turn 1 or something and just played it. Like, it was like, look, this 4 damage, this is fine. I don't need to worry about it. I think when you play a combo deck like this sometimes, which it is and it isn't, you know, it's non-linear in a lot of ways, but it is, you know, revolves around a certain set of cards working together in a certain way. So you can get a little like beholden to those cards. So when you see it, you're just like, oh no, I need this for my thing. But like, you know, he just did it. He got Feiyu down to a place where he was not comfortable. And once he overextended himself, you know, he didn't even really overextend himself. He just had, you know, did like one thing. And then, you know, that's why on a couple turns you just pass because you're like, I don't want to play anything. But yeah, unfortunately, Eugene was able just to hit some good cards off his Kano. Get that Gaze the Ages. One of my favorite cards for sure. Just it's totally busted in some ways, but it's so dependent on things working out the right way sometimes that it is. I mean, it's probably one of the best blues in the entire game.
And the wizard flavor on that card is off the charts, right? Like, I can see the future and also fuel the future with my infinite mind, right?
By looking into the future, I was just given the power to destroy you. So, shout out to Eugene. It looks like your prediction's coming true.
Yes, praise be. I am still praying to the Kano gods to deliver Eugene into the final matchup and to win it all on my behalf. I think there's a cash prize for me for determining the winner, if that's the case. The cash prize for yeah. Okay, great. I'm getting a nod from our producer Justin. He says a cash prize.
He's got at least 2 tree fitty in his pocket for you. For that prediction.
Absolutely.
All right, so it sounds like we're gonna bring Eugene in here to have a little chit chat. So we'll be back in just a minute, and then we'll give you some updates on the rest of the top 8. Be right back. are back. Eugene, congratulations. That
Thank
was
you.
that was a fun one. I enjoyed it. Some people don't like watching Kano mirrors. They're wrong. So let me ask you, when you're going into Kano mirror, one, is it the best matchup or not? And then what are you thinking about? What's your kind of game plan? I feel like it kind of differs. I hear a lot of like off the hand, like, oh, these are whoever plays Ether Wildfire first loses is what people like to say.
Right.
But then you just went ahead and did that. And,
Yeah.
that's what you say. But yeah, okay. What do you think of the matchup? And then what are you thinking about when you're getting in there?
Yeah, no, Kano matchups, I feel like there's a lot going on. It takes... I feel like it's simultaneously a poker game, and then also at the same time, you're just having to keep track of so many various things. There's so many techniques. There's so many different types of Kanos. Everyone plays differently. There's very aggressive Kanos. There's very defensive Kanos. Feiyu and I have played a few times, so I think we kind of know each other's play style, and we're very similar in that sense. But yeah, utilization of key cards in your deck. You saw us use Tome of Findals, for example. Those are obviously massive, right?
Yeah.
You want to use those as much as humanly possible because that kind of gives you a buffer zone. Like I got to a certain point where I just stopped blocking because I'd like to just keep applying the pressure.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, you went up to 31 health, so that's not pretty.
Yeah. And then, there's a few cards that really help out in the matchup, like Nourishing. For me, it didn't really help out because I drew 3 reds and I think 2 yellows or 3 reds, 1 yellow, 1 blue or something like that.
Yeah. Totally, yeah. It seemed you had like so many cards. I mean, you still did some stuff, I think I was trying to count. You had like pitched 4 cards, or like pitched a couple cards, played a couple cards, and still had 4 cards in hand. So you're doing something. But yeah, it is that it can be hard if you just draw reds and yellows.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but there's a lot going on. You have to keep track of so many things. Kano in general. There's small traits and behaviors that you can pick up on because, again, everyone plays Kano differently. So, for example, on my turn, if I come in with, an arcane spell, whether or not they block is going to dictate what I do for the rest of the turn. If they don't block anything, I'm less likely to do things because they're most likely sitting on an arsenal and waiting to maybe pop off. But if somebody's willing to AB, sometimes, or most of the time, I consider that free reign for myself to just push as hard as I possibly can.
Interesting. Okay.
And I like to do that in a cyclic motion. So I wait to see if they AB. If they AB, they're not going to combo me with their 2 to 3 card hand.
Yeah.
Right? So I just apply as much pressure as I can off the top or with Waning Moon or something. And just kind of keep doing that over and over and grind people down until they're at a threshold where it's kind of hard to come back from.
Yeah. In the Kano mirror, like where do you kind of put that level at? Like, where are you trying? I know there's always kind of the heuristic of like, okay, they're down here, I can start just trying to go for it. But with Kano, it's always a little bit trickier because you got to worry about them doing something back at you.
Right. Yeah. Honestly, there's a lot of bluffing.
Yeah.
It's like I said earlier, it's quite literally a poker match.
Yep.
You'll do something and have a red in your hand, but you're feigning that it's a blue, hoping that they don't do anything. Like there's so many types of pivotal turns like that, and they happen left and right. So, there's a lot to it. I love Kano mirrors. I didn't used to like them, but I feel like I like them a lot more now. Because traditional Kano games into anybody else can be a turn 2 blowout most of the time, right? You'll just draw into the combo and do it, and then we go on a 50-minute lunch break or something. But the Kano mirrors are the longest games for me, usually, and I enjoy them.
Yeah.
You have pitch stacks that you create. You have the ability to track their pitch stack. You can make counter pitch stacks for their pitch stacks. So there's kind of a lot involved when it comes to it.
Totally. I'm curious, because I know I was thinking that pitch stack might be pretty important in this one, but then the lesson lava comes into play, and then it kind of just goes out the window every now and then.
Very much. Yeah.
Is that normally are you looking to pitch a major combo, or is that kind of like a backup plan in case you get there, and then you just kind of feel it out on your way?
Yeah, it really depends on the deck. I myself don't really approach that. Like I used to. I kind of got into this mindset of a particular thing that I like to do, which is just slowly grind them down. I don't necessarily need to do 5 to 10 damage right away. Like I'm okay 3 damage at a time per turn or something, just slow and steady, because it's a little bit more controllable. But I've run into Kanos that run 5 AB, for example, and they try and quite literally fatigue you.
Yeah.
And at that point, you have to really consider pitch stacking. Or there's also 4 AB Kanos that also try and fatigue you as well.
Okay.
So-
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, for me, it's all in the Kano mirror. I was so used to Crucible that switching to Waning Moon, all my math was just a little bit off, because I'm like, oh yeah, it's coming in for 4, and you're like, oh no, it's 3. Oh no, they blocked it. Oh, everything I planned to do is now changed because I wasn't thinking of this. So that's just been something that I've struggled with, coming from like an older Wizard player. But Waning Moon just seems like the clear upgrade in the mirror.
Yeah. And again, you can tell a lot by the Kano player. If they use a Crucible, they're probably a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah.
If they do the Waning, they're most likely going to be a little bit more grindy. And Waning Moon nowadays is really not that bad, because assuming you have Blazing in Arsenal, which is probably one of the better things to have in a Kano mirror, that Waning will turn into 6 damage with a Blazing on the board. So it's actually really, really good for like the kill turn, for example.
Totally, yeah. I had someone demonstrate that to me quite clearly in a Kano mirror. It was just like, okay, yeah, all right, you're right. I'm just kind of like leaning on my old knowledge of Kano and you wanting to use Crucible.
Right.
But it's just good when you're just like, yep, now this turns into this. You're just like, great.
Right.
But nothing better than having that Ether Flare come out and on either Wildfire turn.
Yeah.
That was pretty nice.
Yeah. The Gaze let me see a blue and a Wildfire, and I think that kind of sealed it. Yeah, there's really not too much better than a Wildfire and an Aether Flare, because both of them will buff the Blazing. So
Totally, it's 2 of my favorite cards for sure. Gaze the Age is my other, just like...
Yeah, I love the art style of Gaze of Ages.
Best art, best blue in the game, just, everything about it is awesome,
I agree.
I love playing it, like, when I first learned Kano, learning to play a card and then play that on top of it, and getting to get it back, just all the resolving of Wizard cards is just like taught me so much about the game,
Right.
and simultaneously it feels so good that it just makes playing Kano feel awesome, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I love the art on Gaze. It's one of my favorites. I honestly wish I had a big poster of it or something like that. It'd be cool. Like it's a really, really good centerpiece. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
All right, so let's see who you're playing. Maybe in this next round here. Ooh, going against Alan, have a San Diego showdown. And if Zayne, if Zayne wins, we're having a full San Diego showdown. You guys came in hot today. That's awesome. All right, so how do you feel about the Bolton matchup?
Alan and I have played this matchup hundreds of times, probably.
I bet.
Hundreds of times, yeah. He's an amazing player too. Bolton was one of his first mains, I want to say. So
yeah, totally.
Yeah, we have so much experience into it. I would say that our matches are a little bit more mechanical now, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Has Bolton got anything new that benefits him in this matchup, or is it still,
Yeah. The I think it's called Radiant Gear. That's pretty cool. I don't know how many Boltons use it. I'm pretty sure Alan doesn't use it, but that's pretty insane, right? Because you're looking at 2 pieces of equipment that can act just like Oasis. I'm not a Bolton expert though, so I don't want to. I don't want to dictate whether or not it's like the good thing to run. It's probably not, because I don't see Alan running it. So.
Yeah, for sure. And he is a good Bolton player.
He is very good.
I've seen him play many times as Bolton. Always a blast. So might be a hard one, but good luck to you in that, and good luck for the rest of it. And glad to have you out here again. And anything you want to shout out before we're done?
San Diego, love you guys. Appreciate you.
Stay classy, San Diego. All right, we'll be right back with the semifinals coming in very soon. Thanks, everyone.
Right on.
No, just kidding. Final countdown's next time. Oh, how was that? A Kano mirror.
It was excellent. I was confused and excited the entire time.
I'm looking at the Kano in the mirror. I thought that was important to show everyone because these are two people that are doing extremely well on that hero. And I asked Feiyu, I was like, how many times do you play that a year? And he goes, maybe once.
Yeah.
So get that on screen. What is it called? On tape for everyone. And etc.
Yeah.
But no more Kano.
Well, Eugene is still in the top 8, right?
We're doing the other side.
True that.
We're going to see Alan Luber versus Zayne Johnson.
Yeah.
And that's the 1 versus the 5. I guess I didn't realize he won Swiss.
Yeah.
Colin put a valiant effort, but it was not enough. Alan Chavrin took down Del Taco. And Eugene, you saw what happened. I'm interested in what this is going to be. I think Zayne can beat Bravos, but Alan is one of the best Bravos. He proved it at Nationals. He's the best Bravo in North America. And if you do want to take him down, come to AGE February and try to do it. I think he's the best Bravo in our area. And I don't know if they're ready. Maybe we could go back to us for a bit and see our faces.
That sounds good. Yeah, I like looking
He's
at
the best Bravo in North America. He's the best Bravo in SoCal. He's the best Bravo Western Hemisphere. I don't know if there's Eastern Hemispheres that are better. Is he top 5 Bravos in the world? You got to say yes. Bravo is our highest person in the meta for top 8. I'm just saying Bravo a lot.
Yeah, and you could say it a couple more times, and I don't think it would drive home just how dominant, that's a pun, this hero has been today, because there were only 6 of them in the entire meta of 61 players, and 3 of them are in the top 8. That is a conversion rate that is off the charts. You could calculate it, but I dare you to.
50%.
It's incalculable. Well, 50% of... Okay, that's great. I'm getting a note to shift a little bit so that we fill the frame.
No, they're talking to the husband outside or whatever.
Oh, the husband's outside.
Yeah. He's easily top 5 Bravos in the world, coming from another Bravo man, said Jamaica. Even though he has an illness, he is still contributing to our community. That's what we love to see in the chat. Let's see if they have this going yet. It's interesting that we switched to Showstopper. What is it called? What is this? No, what is that?
Showstopper.
No. Showtime. Showtime. They switched the art to Showtime.
Yes,
So
it
that's
is
a new asset.
Yeah, and they've changed the assets for a couple Welcome to Wraith heroes, right? Like Reinar is always Alpha Rampage instead of himself, right?
Did that
in the
happen?
graphic. I think
Oh,
that's been the case for a
that
long
is. I get what you're saying now. Of some of these hero, it is their hero, and some of these people, it's not.
time. Yes, you follow.
So depending on who we think, where does Luber live?
You
He's
keep
more
saying
local.
Luber, but I think you're pronouncing Hoang a little incorrectly.
I mean, that's what he goes by on YouTube.
Oh, understood. I'm out of the loop.
So he has one of the best Bravo channels to watch on YouTube. That's where I got the confidence to build his list and take it to ProQuest last time around. That did not end up working out for me because I found some crazy Dash players playing hold the line 3 times in 1 turn.
Yeah, that's a thing.
That was not fun. That's not going to happen in Azalea Ace in the hole. If we look at defense reactions for Zayne, not much.
He does have 3 sync belows.
Cool.
Which can be pondered into at critical moments, like I believe he had in his he already took down a Bravo in this top 8, right?
And Marcus is nothing to sneeze.
No, don't
and
sneeze at Marcus.
He's
He
nothing
doesn't like it.
to. What's another word we'd use in Flesh and Blood a lot? He's nothing to think about.
Yeah, exactly. He's nothing to go again about.
True.
You know.
No, that sounds a little more derogatory. Marcus is good, and Zayne just beat him. I saw it happen. He goes, the blood rot's going to do the arrow's going to do 1 damage to you. You're going to have 2 left. He tried to block with his whole hand, but he got dominated, and then he couldn't pay for blood rot. So that's what happened. The blood rot killed the last Bravo. Can Zayne do it again? Here we go.
Here we go, indeed. Alan starting us off looks like he just kind of pitches away a D-react that he didn't really want to make a Seismic Surge and Arsenal up. And you know why he didn't want it? He's got another Sync Below locked and loaded in his hand.
He's too good.
He's too good. When you draw well in this game, you're just better than your opponent.
If you are Bravo and you're playing Azalea, the game plan is block out forever? Or is it block until we can guarantee the on-hit crush damage?
I think it is block important on hits, right? Of which this probably is not, unless Zayne is holding onto a Rain Razors and is threatening a reload trigger. He could also just have a bricky hand. That's the question in front of Alan. If Alan has a really good hand, which one red sink below maybe gums up his hand a little bit, so he can't do anything too threatening to Zayne. Bottom line, Alan just needs to evaluate whether or not he has a hand that will absolutely dumpster Zayne's next turn and go for it if he feels like the risk is worth the reward.
And the keyword you said was evaluate. And I think, why is Alan one of the best Bravos? It's because of that word of he is the master at figuring out every piece of points to get ahead of their opponent when it comes to seismic surge. I think he wrote a book. I read about it on his YouTube. It's a short novel of 2 hours of how to play the hero, and the way he's talking about evaluating the seismic surges and how those work, I think is what sets him apart. So the evaluation he won't screw that up.
Yeah, absolutely. And is he talking about them in terms of evaluating like, oh, I make a seismic here, and then it enables a 4-cost attack on my next turn so that I can block out with X card? Like, is that kind of how he thinks about it?
That's like the pedestrian level thing, not derogatory, but he's doing the that's the way that most people would look at it. Here's what it does to massage your turns and do some stuff like, yes, it always makes sense to make them as much as possible, but here's it's kind of like the chess idea of they're 2 steps ahead, and you're like, how am I losing?
Absolutely.
My opponent's 2 steps ahead, and I didn't know.
And here comes Alan, making another surge, sending a crippling crush. This is exactly what we're talking about, right? He identified that Zayne's Bolton shot was not a huge threat, holds back that clean block in the sink below, and goes, here's a crippling crush, which is a miserable card for Rangers to deal with, especially Azalea, who has so many 2 blocks and can't really get that clean brush off of the crush effect super easily.
Brush the crush.
Brush the crush. Looks like Zayne is going to do it.
We do find it.
Fortuitously with that sink below in Arsenal. That's number 1. So he's got 2 more get-out-of-jail-free cards in the deck. That being said, he's committed a lot of cards to this block, and what's to stop Alan from drawing up and doing it again?
True. I think the other thing that Alan would love to do the most is always have an Arsenal card so we don't get caught with a Codex. If Codex could maybe, now I don't have the right math, or there's an arrow I do want to block, and Codex kind of intimidates a card from my hand that I'll never see again. Yes, I can probably put a crippling crush back in my arsenal, and the more I do that to Azalea, the worse it is for her. But anytime you're losing a card from Codex, you're not having a good day.
Absolutely. And so what do you think are the primary Arsenal targets on Alan's side of the board?
Defense reactions until it's time where, what's the one that blocks from Arsenal? That is Remorseless. So
oh, yeah.
That's a thing. Like, Remorseless is specifically written, I'm assuming, for the Bravo.
Yes, almost assuredly. Ooh, it looks like we have a dominated Spinal Crush here, which is so bad for Azalea. Wonder if Zayne found another sink below to stick in that arsenal. He certainly had a lackluster turn. It looked like he was just kind of doing some setup, so maybe that's the situation he found himself in. I'm going to hope for our dear friend that it is.
When you play Azalea, you've done it recently, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are you playing Ravenous Rabbles in this match, or because the idea of you could get dominated, you're trying to do as tall attacks, or are you trying to go wide against Bravo?
I think you mix in the Ravenous Rabbles personally, because you want to have situations that could potentially bait out pieces of the fridge. What you really don't want is to let Bravo steamroll crush effects turn after turn after turn, because that's when you lose, right? And so you kind of have to chip away at that equipment in moments that you can, and then when you do finally come in with that four buff dominated arrow or whatever it is, they don't have the fridge to just huck it in front of and then kill you on the next turn.
Speaking of huck, there goes 6 health, hucked to the nether realm.
Tragic. Tragic indeed. Zayne is still holding on to his perch grapplers, though, teched in specifically for Bravo so that he can, maybe block out a pesky dominated Spinal Crush with a Sink Below and a piece of boots. We'll see.
Our friend Lexi would always use Artivore to get around Bravo stuff, but Artivore not an Azalea list.
No, Artivore is kind of a weird card into Azalea, right? Because she can't go wide super well. Oh my gosh, this is 2 Crippling Crushes in a... I'm sorry, there was a Spinal in between. But this is the second Crippling Crush we've deployed this game.
And that's a Bravo activation as well, using that $600 card.
Alan trying very hard to keep the AGE playmat nice and clean.
Every Bravo main in the chat is saying this is one of the most disgusting things. We're going to go from 33 to 22 immediately. I'm guessing this is not how Marcus was drawing his cards. We're going to randomly get rid of a Lace and a Red in the Ledger.
Red in the Ledger, ordinarily a horrible card for Azalea to have to discard, but honestly, it's pretty lackluster in the Bravo matchup.
It could stop the Dominate, though, right?
It could stop the Dominate. It can stop the Seismic Surge generation, but the difference between a dominated Crippling Crush and a non-dominated Crippling Crush is your turn is still over as Azalea, right? If I block out, I'm giving you all my cards and passing it back to you to do it to me again. If it's dominated, I am taking all the damage, and it's still ruining my next turn, right? So it furthers Alan's game plan, but either way, Azalea is feeling the burn.
And you don't want to feel the burn in the top 8. Oh, Battering Bolt, take that.
Comes in for 8. If it connects, it's going to make Alan reveal his hand, and he's going to lose all non-action cards and lose life equal to them. It's probably not that big of a deal for Alan, at least the on-hit. He says, I do not care. Look at my hand. I have no non-action cards.
Holder drop. And I think it was interesting to see Zayne shake his head and try to blink a bit, like, maybe if I do this...
I can wake up from this horrible nightmare.
We will see a star. We won't. We're going to spread them out a bit with a couple of attacks. Start with some Rouse the Ancients first for 7.
I think Alan's thinking he can afford to just put pressure on the life total here because Zayne is this is probably his last opportunity to just eat a ton of life, right? Because then you're in the Macho Grande range, then you're in the Dominated Spinal Crush range where you just die.
And technically 13 damage is more than 10. I do love Eugene laughing in the background. He has been smiling every single time. Busting a gut over there. Somebody has probably lumined him or something.
And he's playing against Alan, who is just such a fun guy to play against, right? Everybody having a good time here at AGE 1.
AGE January 2nd. The second time.
Yes. The sequel.
What can Zayne do to get out of 7 into 5 into 6? If there's a swing afterwards. That is disgusting. An 18 damage turn. Like, I think this is what I'm saying when I have never seen a Bravo rouse into E-Strike into Hammer, and this is a normal day at the office for Alan. This is why he's better than you. This is why he's the best in North America. I legitimately have never seen that.
Yeah, and I don't think
Zayne
Zayne
Bravo for a while.
I don't think Zayne has either because his head is in his hands. He's crying.
Let me see this codex.
Despite the fact that he's showing a Codex of Frailty at the beginning of his turn. Oh, that hurts. That was a killing right there.
Yeah. And he's pretty smart to realize to not make a seismic for next turn. Just send it all.
That was an 18 damage turn without a Blood Rush.
Jeez. Imagine if every Bravo played like this. This hero would have Living Legend 15 months ago.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Bravo is such a weird matchup, right? Like, when you're going up against it and you're an aggro player, this is what you fear every time you sit across from a Bravo, right? But it doesn't always shake out this way. Sometimes they can have all the D-reacts in one hand, all the really scary crush attacks in one hand. It's kind of a mixed bag. And the worst possible scenario is that you just see something devastating like this over and over and over again, and you never play the game.
Right. And Zayne's like, hey, I'm not going down without making an arrow for 11 at least, maybe 14.
And as you critically, as you mentioned before, Alan this time is not able to set up the arsenal despite his very massive turn on the last turn. So this Codex is going to rip a card out of his hand. What do you think he finds out of that graveyard?
Crippling Crush immediately. Or you just E-Strike for 7 next turn, you pressure the whole life, and you go, whatever.
Yeah, 2-card 7 is not bad in this case. Looks like we have a Read the Glide Path, a Lace with Frailty, and then an Infecting Shot coming in.
Don't forget the Premeditate.
Oh, I'm sorry, there's a Premeditate on there. I didn't realize it because it was signed so beautifully.
3, 6, 9 plus 5 with 2 on the extra is 16 damage arrows if all damage is taken. That would put Alan at 14, which would still be double Zayne's life total.
Yeah, and so he can discard 1 here. He can block for 6, and then instead only take 8 when he's at 30, and then send a 2-card 7.
That's disgusting.
That's so great. Well, I'm sorry, it'll be a 2-card 6 because of the frailty check.
Oh, of course.
So Zayne won't die, and he still has his Perch Grapplers up. But yeah, that looks like the most efficient play here.
I think this is why Azalea always would run into an Oldham or a Bravo when she had less tools. And it is, I think he played in an extremely good game in the top 8 to get here. So I don't want to be like, there's no way you could beat a Bravo because he just did it. But when you see those hands line up like that, it's like what card, is Judge, Jury, Executioner going to be the difference?
Yeah, I guess that's a good question. So many of the Bravo hands make efficient use of their cards despite Dominate, right? Like we see the red Unmovable come out there, and
because did he just also full block that?
I think he did.
14 damage.
Oh my gosh.
Said, not only am I gonna push you around as hard as possible, I'm gonna block. I believe that's probably the second biggest arrow he sent today. There's probably at least one that got 15 or 16 on it.
Yeah, I think we saw another 14 earlier. Okay, we flipped the Endless Arrow.
This is the comeback.
Top. This is it.
What do you have, Zayne?
Eugene's going to look over at Zayne. Zayne's going to look over at Eugene. Zayne's going to be like, it's not as bad as it looks. I got him right where I want him.
Dude. This is what beating Evan by 40 will do to you.
Yeah, absolutely. It puts Evan's taint on him, I suppose.
Okay.
That was a poor choice of words, I'm willing to admit.
Oh my goodness. So Luber, he is in the drivers here. We're gonna see how much damage Zayne can do. I think. Do we have Gogan from Perch Grapplers no matter what, right? But
no, you have to activate them and destroy them, and he's gonna have to wait to use them on defense.
But if you're trying to do something, okay, we're gonna get a Dominated Arrow.
Yeah, we are.
Okay.
He could activate the Perch. Oh, this is a great choice, actually. Fatigue Shot makes it so that Alan's next attack will be very much less scary because it's going to reduce, if it hits, it's going to reduce the first attack action card he plays on his turn by half of its base power.
So
right?
you're telling me Starstruck goes to 5?
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. Starstruck won't crush
What about Crippling
if he
Crush?
blocks with 1 card.
Let's go to 5 or 6.
That will go to 6 because it's rounded up.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Luber cannot let this hit.
So your scary crush effects, I can throw 1 card in front of it and be fine.
Right. Well, that's pretty nice. Especially if you dominate it. How many buffs does he have in hand?
It can only be 2 max. Okay, cool. So it's just going to be 1. He's going to save a card for Arsenal. 8 dominate. You really hope Alan doesn't have... We know he doesn't have the red Unmovable in Arsenal, right? Because that was the E-Strike that he got from the Codex of Frailty.
He said, I'll take 5. I don't care that you're going to have fatigue up because I'm just probably going to pummel you for game.
He could do. He could also do 2 E-Strikes here. E-Strike from Arsenal with the Go Again, I suppose, which eats the
Goes
fatigue
to 2
shot.
damage
Goes to 2. Then he sends the E-Strike for 7. or just refreshes the. Okay, so he tucks the other E-Strike into the arsenal. This is going to eat up the fatigue shot trigger.
It's pretty smart.
Absolutely.
I honestly, if you wanted to get better at Flesh and Blood, and there was a camera that watched Alan play every game of his life, that's the one I would spend money on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not gonna lie.
He's such a clean player, and he always looks comfortable.
Right.
When you walk by and he's playing, he's just same kind of chill, easy smile, having the time of his life.
Like, I think I would brag about losing to him by less than 20.
Dear diary, today I lost to Alan and
I felt
loved
really good
it.
about myself. I only lost by 15 to Alan Luber. Here's Command and Conquer, one of the best cards against people that care about arsenals, also known as Rangers.
Yep. And not caring at all about that fatigue shot hitting because he
That's already over.
Yeah, he wasted it with the E-Strike. So even smarter of a choice with information he didn't know about Zayne's turn, right?
Yeah. And that is a thing where it's like, if you're wondering as a brand new player, do I need to buy E-Strikes in Command and Conquer right away? I was E-Strike in Command and Conquer. That's
Oh, so you're saying they're good cards.
$100
Yeah, 100%.
right there. That's the key, baby.
Worth it to stuff an Azalea back into the ace in the hole. You know what I'm saying?
True.
So that's a 2-card block from Zayne, weakening his turn massively. Azalea is just not feeling great with 1 card in Arsenal,
Ace
especially when it's a
up.
1-cost arrow. Which means that if he wants to do anything on his turn and that is not a 0-cost arrow on top, he's going to have to pitch that last card in his hand.
Not great, Bob.
Not great, Bob.
Alan would immediately just go from 25 down to 5 and kill Zayne immediately.
Yeah, I see a Thunderquake in hand. That's already pretty scary. Zayne's still got the boots up, so it's not a guaranteed lethal because I think it's in the blue.
Yeah, there's no way Red Thunderquake happened today.
It did with Trent, actually. Yeah, that was one of those really cool plays that comes from running Trench, right? You block with all your cards except for a blue and a Red Thunderquake. Kabamo, 10-0.
Kabamo.
Kabamo 10-0.
This is the pitch for 5. There's all kinds of stuff right now. You can't use.
Yeah, Zayne's
Defense
shaking his head like,
reactions.
man, if I had found that 0-cost arrow on top, you would be at less life when you kill
Yeah.
me. All right?
And now we got 3 cards and a Seismic Surge. There's a pitch to do it all over again. That doesn't turn on Remorseless. This will turn on Remorseless. He's like, yeah, 23 to 22. I'm going to get every point of damage I can. My mom is watching. I want her to be proud.
Zayne's mom has turned off the feed. She is unwilling to watch her son be decimated by yet another Bravo. And Zayne's going, Mom, why didn't you watch the last game? I just destroyed a Bravo.
Oh my
I know I can
goodness.
do it.
So, gonna take a couple points there. Seismic made for next turn. You need to pressure Bravo right now. We see the Codex. That's gonna help.
That's a good, that's a good
If
start.
we play a buff first, oh, that's
Right.
fine too.
That's not bad.
Except
for 3.
that's a yellow.
What are the odds that Alan just goes, whatever,
100%.
I'll take it. 100%?
You gotta hope he doesn't have 3 blues in hands. It helps if he blocks right now, then he won't be able to do the. I mean, I don't know if you can tell there's a Codex. I'm assuming if I can, I saw it already. But if somebody's attacking you with a Ravenous, I don't think the idea is that they would not play something afterwards because they would use the Ravenous to load an arrow.
Exactly.
So there's the
Yeah, there we go.
Codex. That gets rid of a card from his hand. So he won't be able to grab the good attack and immediately use it unless he Seismic Surges and keeps 2 blues and then Crippling Crushes, which is about to happen. Which is so smart to get the fatigue shot. And we have the Tunic to use it. Zayne is like, I know what I'm doing. You've been
Yeah.
talking about Alan for 20 minutes now, but I'm Zayne. I'm on Team Stroop. I got 32nd place once somewhere. I think it was Baltimore. Maybe it was 33. I don't remember. But he's a good player in his own right, and I'm going to claw my way back in.
That was an amazing impression. I felt like I was talking to Zayne right there. I was like, how are you
Hi,
in
it's me,
here? I
Mr.
thought you were out
Johnson.
there.
I'll load Death Dealer.
I'll scratch my brow and hope for death.
I think Alan's realizing that maybe the easiest one I always grab isn't the smartest. And he's doing the word evaluate right now of whatever card he gets. If you're a Bravo player, write this down right now.
What do you think it's going to be?
I don't even want to guess. I'm going to be wrong. Like, it's going to be a go again one. E-Strike's on top. I'll use that as I think it's E-Strike. Because you could block a couple card, or he has to discard from here.
He's touching it, Blake. He's touching it.
So you block for 3 and then E-Strike for 7, but it gets halved. That doesn't feel that great.
Indeed.
Does fatigue shot work on hammers?
It does not. It's
Okay.
attack action cards, so he could just go for the create a seismic surge, swing a Nothos. But you know what does touch a Nothos is the frailty token. And 5 is a little less scarier than 6.
We've got Bravo chat saying chokeslam would be pretty good. I don't know if we've seen Alan block with a chokeslam yet. I know he hasn't played one as an attack yet.
Yeah, I don't think so. He's got one in hand. Maybe he's thinking, maybe I can figure out a way to play this.
The other Bravo chatter says CNC is pretty good.
He also can just be like, this card that I got for Arsenal can be used later. I can just use this unmovable in my hand to block out this fatigue shot. But then you're giving the turn back to an Azalea with a full grip and an Arsenal, which is...
There was a chokeslam available. What is going on?
No, he just discarded it,
Oh,
right?
okay.
Yeah, so it'll be available for the next Codex of Frailty.
Which, if you're Zayne, you're just hoping that happens at this point. I think Alan should block because we have the civic steps. Is it worth giving a quicken token to make sure my Command and Conquer can come in for 6?
Yes.
Actually, Command and Conquer would be 5. I don't even know if it's Command and Conquer. What did he grab?
I think he took the E-Strike after all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then pay attention, Blake. The E-Strike would be 6 if you buffed it up.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of getting around the text on fatigue shot, basically, right? Because the buffed power is not affected by the halving of the fatigue shot. So it'll get
Alan
knocked down
is
to 3
taking
plus 2.
2. Never mind.
Yeah, so it looks like he's going to deploy... Oh, no, he just sends a Nothos for 3. That's an interesting one, because not only... Zayne could just take this, which does put him in really scary range for pretty much any of Alan's dominated attacks.
Just use an extra arrow and block this out, right?
Yeah, right?
There's no point in giving every dominate kills me. At least make him work for it.
Absolutely. Girl, you better work.
Girl, you better work. Does Alan play Sigil? Let's look at this DRS for him. There's 2 Sigil of Solace. Do you play that against Azalea? I bet not.
I bet not, too. Yeah, I think that just extends the game longer than you want it to. I think you just keep up the pressure. Which, I mean, there's no question that Zayne's got a lot of pressure on him here. The fact that he has stood this long against a veteran Bravo player that has just been chaining crippling crushes and spinal crushes is a testament to how good he is.
I'm dead already if I play this game.
Yeah.
Good for Zayne. Proud of you, Zayne. Great job, Zayne. Somebody won or lost in the background. We could probably text one of those people to ask who it was.
Alan is smiling. Eugene is looking stern and scratching his back, which makes me think he went for the combo and found a blue on top.
Cool. We blocked with a yellow. I remember
that's the
seeing
Raging
that.
Onslaught. That's
Yeah,
a really
Raging
valuable
Block with
card for her
Onslaught.
because it's a popper in the yellow, right? So we cross wrap. We reveal that is looking like a yellow Bolton shot.
Which we remember that from earlier because that's what made the Ravenous Rabble for 3, right?
Right. Yeah, so true. And then got put into the arsenal from the Ponder token.
So smart.
So it comes back to bite him twice. No, it could be a really good card on this turn and allows him to go wide, which kind of forces Alan to block to put a ceiling on Zayne's turn and then just send like an Anothos or something on his, which is honestly the best case scenario for Zayne at this point. Kind of no matter what he sends Alan's way, Alan is always going to be knocking on the door with an Anothos for 4, regardless of what cards Zayne is able to rip out of his hand, I think.
This is Deadeye. No text good on there, besides 3, which sucks because I wish I could Crow's Nest, but it's not going to work out.
Sure. The nice thing about the no text buff is that Bolt and Shot now has go again and has an on hit, which is going to make Alan think twice about just saying, yeah, hit me for 6. I'm at 20. I don't care.
He does care.
He still has an Zayne still has an activation of Death Dealer, so it's not like he can't load more arrows this turn if he's got them in hand. Furthermore, activating Death Dealer is going to generate more cards, maybe keep the arsenal for next turn. Zayne's got to be thinking at some point here that he's going to be blocking with that Skullbone Crosswrap, though, so maybe stuffing a card into arsenal every single turn is not as valuable because he knows he's going to start getting some really scary dominate effects coming his way.
What's going through your block mind, Alan?
He's just thinking, this card could kill him, this card could kill him. Oh, that card would be more fun to see kill him.
I love Civic Steps because normally it's just mindless block, but this Civic Steps has stuck around when it could have been a really good block a couple times. And I like the idea of, to win this game, you have to evaluate what that Quicken token means. And for some, like, you're not going to play Null Rune against Azalea, but I'm going to face up show you Civic Steps, and I'm probably not going to play that against you either.
Absolutely.
Because it's so good half the time against you. Flip over a buff and an arrow that goes back into graveyard, not graveyard, back into my hand, which I could play this again even if I full block you. But this is 7 that could turn into 9.
This is a fantastic situation for Zayne. The resources work out so perfectly. And the reset on the arsenal is so important, right? Because the number one thing Azalea wants to do at the start of her turn is activate Skullbone Crosswrap, flip a card in arsenal. So by
some info.
Exactly. By threatening the Endless Arrow, he's threatening far more than 7 damage, right? He's threatening momentum. And Alan really doesn't want Zayne to have any momentum. He just wants to keep chaining these crush effects, dominate one for the win.
And when we say keep chaining, it actually hasn't happened in a couple turns.
That's a good point.
Zayne has been the chainer.
Absolutely.
And he only needs 1 point of damage to get across. That was one thing that I thought was always funny, of joking of like, imagine if it wasn't crush and you only had to hit with 1. It's like, no, let's not imagine that.
Yeah, that's a really painful universe that I don't want to be a part of.
We're going to see the second half of Crater Fist, and then 2 cards that we're going to kill Zayne are going to keep Alan alive instead.
And that's great for Zayne. He got to chip 6 damage this turn and significantly weaken Alan's turn. I think I see a CNC in Alan's hand, though, which is a little less effective now that Zayne has no arsenal, right?
Because we don't get the card back in Arsenal because we did not let the Endless Arrow hit.
So I don't know.
3 block on equipment for Alan, but what do we have? We know about the E-Strike. Now this can come in for full, or it can come in for a little bit.
Probably going to come in for 7 because he's got a card to throw into his arsenal. Usually you want to go again if you have more gas in your hand, which we know he doesn't. He's got nothing in the pitch zone and too expensive of cards to use. You use the draw card in this situation to reset your arsenal, ostensibly because the extra card on your next turn is going to be more valuable than the +2 that it gets from the buff, right? But he's got the card to reset, so here it comes for 7.
And if you're a person at home being like, why are we not maybe seismic surgery to make sure we can do something gross later? Is it that's probably a defense reaction? Or is there, I would never seismic because I always want to at least have an arsenal card to make my opponent think twice about their turn?
Yeah, it's a good question. If he had gone for the seismic Anothos play this turn, he would be coming in for 6 instead of 7 and still have a card in his arsenal, right? So I don't know. I think the 7 breakpoint is like trying to bait out some perch grapplers and make Zayne be greedy about his next turn, and then they're not there when he comes in for that dominated finisher. I don't know. 7 is just always a scary number in this game because it's so weird to block out cleanly, right?
When's the last time you saw Zayne be greedy, though?
That's a good question.
I don't think ever.
Well, he did just beat Evan 40-0. You would have to imagine. there
Every
was some
time I've
greed
seen
there.
him, whenever there was a pizza party, he always gets 2 slices, just like we said.
Yeah, and he
There's
takes
more
other
if you
people's
come back as-
pepperonis.
Just for the vegetarians, you know, he's
Oh,
actually a service. He
I
provides.
understand.
Uh,
What a philanthropist.
He's not greedy. There's a lot of things I know about Zayne. He's not greedy.
He does seem to be wanting to hold on to these. Oh, no, here comes the 2-card block. Takes 2.
Not good.
Yeah, another weird thing about Azalea is just the number of 2 blocks you have to deal with, right? And speaking of blocking out cleanly,
What do you have, Zayne? A buff? Nope, a Ravenous. And then
Okay.
is it the final Codex? If you're rooting, it's the final Codex, or it's a 0-cost hero that we can use our bullseye on.
yeah,
4 for Ravenous is the best one we got, but this does feel like it's the last stand of Zayne Johnson.
yeah, he can't even. Unfortunately, he doesn't have his tunic up, so it's not like he can just go Death Dealer into the Endless Arrow, find the Codex of Bloodrot like he did a couple turns ago. Just hoping to chip away. Alan goes ahead and throws a card in front of the Ravenous
Hey.
Rabble, though.
What do you got, Bravo?
I do. Oh no, that's not a Macho Grande. That's an Imposing Visage. I see a Choke Slam.
We're back on Imposing Visage in the Luber list? I was supposed to take that out for Buckle last time.
Don't write off that card.
I think Buckle was in for Lexi, and now that Lexi's gone, we're putting Imposing Visage back in.
Mm.
And by we're, I mean all those rising up and playing Bravo.
Bravo players, rise up. Because you were downtrodden before?
That's just his tagline for his YouTube.
Gotcha.
Not that I watch YouTube or podcasts about Flesh and Blood, but gotta keep my streak right. We see the Seismic.
That is a CNC. Oh, I don't actually know
What's
what he put on the
crazy
bottom with
is
that
if
Easter
you
egg.
Seismic, it's almost telling your opponent, like, I'm thinking this game is, I'm not gonna kill you. Like, anytime you're Seismicing, you're like, I'm planning on having an. Oh,
This is interesting.
now we're going. Do you have Command and Conquer? Or that sucks because if that's a. Is that a defense reaction in there? We're assuming that's what that was. Because that makes the only thing pass earlier make sense for good stuff. If it's not a defense reaction, then that just sucks altogether.
Yeah, because Alan is not getting value out of one of his cards.
The bluff is there. Oh, I probably shouldn't talk this loud. There's like 6 doors in between me. The bluff is there of, are you going to block everything to not die to pummel? But at this point, it's like, I have to lose the pummel.
Yeah.
It's fine.
And Alan's got to know that Zayne is a good enough player to know when he can and when he can't play around pummel, right? Like, I don't think this is a value play in terms of, like, I'm going to bluff this pummel and make you make a mistake. I think it's just probably the best hand Alan had to work with. Because it was like Zayne didn't really have a strong turn the last turn, right? It was like Ravenous Rabble, Arsenal, pass. Alan seemed ready to block.
And you wouldn't do something stupid like, let me activate my hero power just to get this card out of my hand because you want to at least bluff the pummel.
Yeah, that's a really good point as well.
So we're going to keep these cards for next time. Zayne thinking about just taking it and going home.
This is always such...
Ooh!
Yeah, here we
Ooh,
go.
We're going to go for the whole thing. I don't need my Arsenal card. I think I can get back in this game with these 4 cards in hand and nothing. That's sick. This is the Zayne Johnson difference. This is how you beat Bravos.
Loses a pretty important buff as a result. He probably just didn't have Oh, I see a Rain Razors. That card doesn't block. That might be part of his decision.
Are we blind Azalean? Are we trusting our cards in hand? What is the thought process here?
I don't think you can blind Azalea because in order to get a card into Arsenal to do that, you have to activate your bow. So if you flip a non-arrow, you do nothing and pass, right? Unless you have like a knock the death whistle to start it out with. I think I saw, yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw a Rain Razors in there. That is quite possibly our pitch card for the turn.
Azalea's pitched that card a lot.
Yeah.
Which I always thought was interesting. I'm used to that card killing me or end up being 6 points of damage. But anytime you're pitching a Rain Razors, I'm like, great.
Yeah.
Here comes the bullseye. I think this will start with a Bolton shot, just based on him touching that card first. That means we're going to be going wide. Just kidding, it's a drill shot. So what is in hand here? None of these have go again. None of these are Razor Reflexable.
No.
There is no Razor Reflex. What are these two cards in hand that we didn't block with?
He's probably just going to throw the Rain Razors out there, right? Because he couldn't block with that.
An Arsenal. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
That makes a little more sense. But you can also be like, it's double Rain Razors.
Mm-hmm. Oh, this is such a rough position to be in because you're just, like when you're on Zayne's side of the table, you're doing your best, but you know you're not threatening enough to like make it so Alan doesn't just dominate an attack at you the next turn. So Alan's just sitting there thinking like, how could I possibly lose this game if I take all this damage, right?
Because that Arsenal card is not great to do your hero power and dominate, but if you have an attack in Arsenal and a pummel looking at you, it doesn't really matter what cards. You only have to do 1 point of damage. Honestly, you can dominate and win.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Exactly. I think Alan probably has it in hand. He's just making, doing his due diligence, using that critical word that we've been talking about, evaluation. To make sure he just doesn't do anything really dumb and lose. Well,
we're blocking 9. We are playing an honest game. We're going to rain the Razors to not...
to get in by 1.
None of those... Oh, there is a Seek and Destroy. So if you were planning on using that Arsenal later, you got to use it now. But now here's a... We're going to play this for 6, or is it 8? Because I believe that's a blue, right? We all said it was a blue earlier.
8.
So it would be 6 if it's a blue chokeslam.
It looks red to me, yeah.
8's pretty good.
8 is not bad, and Chokeslam's such a difficult card for Azalea to deal with. If it crushes, forget about that whole buff plan that Azalea loves to do, right? Because Chokeslam's crush effect is your cards can't gain power during your next turn.
But he would die first, so we don't care.
That is a very good point.
If it crushes, you die.
That is a very good point. Alan threatening the most valuable on-hit effect in Flesh and Blood, which is death.
You can go pick up your 3rd and 4th place winnings, and I'll go to the finals. What I'm hope is not happening is people go, oh, we got to go to, okay, that makes sense. I hope there's not a scenario where it's too late and we want to go to San Diego, but we'll see what happens in the finals.
Want to go to San Diego.
Somebody from San Diego's in the finals, no matter what.
Absolutely.
Happens. We're going to premeditate and codex one final time.
Which is a great time for Zayne to be doing this because Alan has that open arsenal. He's going to have to lose 1 card from his hand.
This reminds me of one of my other favorite games to watch, and it happened exactly a year ago, January AGE. It was the finals there of Craig versus Ioli. Ioli's playing this brand new Lexi list, and it looked like he was going to absolutely get blown out. And
yeah,
then
he was
comes
sitting
back after, Craig was up 35 to 4, and Craig wins that game with basically 5 health left.
Yeah, also a really oppressive Guardian game where Craig was just chaining together those really big crush effects over and over again.
So Alan's looking for stuff of what is... Last time we did E-Strike. What are we doing this time?
Yeah, it looks like he's got a couple reds in hand, so it's probably going to have to be somewhat of a similar situation. where he just sends a really nasty 7 on his turn, or maybe refresh the arsenal. Finds the CNC, so he intends to keep one of these cards in his hand to pitch for that, I would imagine.
San Diego is showing out for sure. We haven't had a pummel from Alan go across yet, right?
We haven't even seen
Where
him block
are they?
with one. Oh, there's that sigil that we were talking about earlier.
Cool.
Is it possible he's not running the pummels in this matchup? Because I don't think we've seen a pitch. I don't think we've seen a block with a pummel.
We're blocking 7 here. That'll block everything. Ponder happens no matter what because it was Codex.
Mm-hmm.
So when we read the book, we're gonna get a Ponder. Here's Command and Conquer. I get to Seismic, which is super important. Do you have 2 arrows to block this? Or do you need 3 cards of your 4 to get rid of this?
Only comes in for 5, so Zayne can get away with an
Ooh,
arrow and a
3
buff,
plus 2. That,
which
look
is
at this design.
we're all about
Holy
the small
crap.
victories here.
It's so cool.
But it's quite possible that Zayne is staring down a hand of 2 blocks, maybe finding another one of those Rain Razors at the absolute worst time.
When's the last time you read a book and someone got weaker because you read it?
The last time I played Lexi, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
We're going literal here.
Or no. Oh, sorry.
I read Harry Potter, and that was the last time I saw my great ankle.
Yeah, my sister just faded into the distance
no.
once Harry Potter came out.
Here's a Command and Conquer. Eugene won the other one.
Oh my gosh.
So
My boy
through
is
the
ascending.
Halo. That's crazy.
That Tree Fitty cash prize is coming closer. Oh yeah, you weren't here the last time. I'm gonna get a cash prize
Oh,
from
wow.
Justin if Eugene wins because I called it.
Dang.
Rip Allen says
didn't-
Del Taco in the chat.
I
Who
didn't call anything.
Del Taco has some what's that called? Something syndrome where you fall in love with the people that hurt you. Stockholm syndrome. Del Taco has some Stockholm syndrome in the chat. Loving on Allen, who decimated him and threw him out of the tournament.
I think it's worth looking through a graveyard if you're playing for hundreds of dollars. I don't know what you're looking for.
He's got to be looking
He
for.
doesn't have a 4th Codex.
No, he doesn't. He's played all of his codexes. He's probably just thinking, like, what could I possibly draw off Death Dealer?
Right.
He's probably counting his buffs, right? He's probably calculating his turn
I have
to
more
be.
arrows than buffs left, or more buffs
Yeah,
than arrows
exactly.
left?
Because with all of his pieces of equipment gone, once he's activated Death Dealer, there's no other way to get cards in the arsenal. There's no other way to fire off more arrows. So whatever he draws has got to count if that's the way he's building his turn, right?
It's got to do. What's 12 plus 12 block? It's got to do. He needs an arrow that does 24 damage.
Easy. We've seen him.
Please, LSS, give me an arrow that does 24. As long as it has the clause that whatchamacallit does, Regicide. If this doesn't kill your opponent, you die. That could balance it.
New in from the design desk at LSS.
Yeah.
Here's an arrow that does Regicide
Long shot, Regicide.
with no downside and 24 damage.
No.
Brian Gottlieb, please make this
Zayne.
happen for us. Let the Rangers get ahead.
Zayne, what are we doing?
We see a Deadeye. That's a really good blocking card here.
I think, does he remember it's 5? He has to, right? We don't have
Probably.
the dice. It's blocking 5.
Yep, exactly.
The frailty does all the work there. Saves him an entire card. But what are the cards, Zayne? Show us the cards.
Blind Azalea.
No. Oh,
Dun, dun,
really?
dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Finds a
It's
Bolton shot.
Bolton shot.
It looks like it might be in the blue, though, which is less than ideal.
As long as it's an arrow, we got ourselves a chance.
I tell you what. He might have honestly wanted to find a buff there, depending on what's in his hand, because then you can send out the buff, play your Death Dealer, find another card, because he's got the resource card here, right? Okay, he
That'll
goes.
help. He's paying for the crow's nest. Look at him go.
Yeah, blue Bolton
This is
shot, though.
dominated.
It's only coming in for 5, which Alan can just throw 1 card plus his remaining 2 pieces of equipment in front of and cover up. So I think the likelihood of this Deadeye trigger actually hitting and being relevant is 0. Because I don't think Alan would let that happen. As he lets that happen.
No way. He took it.
He
Now
sure did.
Now I get to look at your hand and pick a card.
And make you discard it. He's like, now he
No
chooses.
way, no way.
Now he's like,
You
okay,
get
I'm
to
going to read
choose?
this card after taking the
Jeez.
damage.
Get rid of the pummel or you
Found the
die.
pummel.
Oh, I can't talk that loud. Get rid of the pummel or you die. Yeah, get rid of the pummel. He's like, I know you want the pummel gone.
Yeah, because he can't. The Terra Sunder is also terrifying, but he knows he can't deploy it because he doesn't
That
have the
sigil's
resources to
not
make it
gonna
happen.
do anything for him. There's no attack in there either. There's no, I can dominate for game. The best he can do, he can't even, what's the other blue? Okay, we can swing a Nothos for 6. I was like, if he's
Yeah.
about to swing a Nothos for 4, disaster mode for everyone that's rooting for
This
Alan.
is fascinating to me. Do you think he meant to let that hit and like understood the Deadeye trigger?
I think he said, oh crap.
Yeah.
You get to choose?
Yeah, I think so too.
But that would make me think less of Alan, which I don't. So I maybe, or not what am I trying to say? I don't think Alan would ever fall into that of like, oops. Because he's that good of a player. I'd be like, wait, what?
Absolutely. Well, here comes a fairly lackluster turn from Zayne. He had to load a 1-cost arrow with a red, which means that no matter what he draws, he's going to have to pitch it to send that 1-cost arrow. Now the equipment suite comes
What?
out,
Here comes
probably
the
with a
Quicken
1-card
token.
block. There it is.
Pass me that Quicken token.
That tells me that Alan has got some sort of dominate to send Zayne's way and close this out, send us to our final match.
Even the best can misplay after a 9-hour day. There's the dominate. There's the spinal. Zayne gets the biggest moral victory of I got him to under 8, which
Dude,
that's exactly 7.
when he was sitting at like 24-30 life,
Right.
which is no small feat, and Bravo is so scary for any ranger that is sitting
Right.
across the table from him.
So honestly, just like I said a little bit, if you're a big Bravo player, pay attention to Alan. If you're an Azalea player, pay attention to Zayne.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
He has 3 games today that you can go back and watch. One of them's hilarious because it's basically watching him play Felt Table against Teklevasen.
Oh gosh.
There's this game where you could be on the back foot and see what you do and whatever. Let's see their winner, though. Let's see what he's doing. Oh, nothing really changed. I was expecting to win. He's the best in the world, and he's going to beat you. To go through Swiss of a 61 and win in the finals would be insane.
Yeah.
So let's hope they're going to play it out instead of going to New Zealand, or what is it, San Diego? Let's do this real quick. That's the semifinals. It's pretty late, 9:17.
Boy, howdy.
We'll see what happens. We started at noon,
Something like that.
9
Yeah.
hours
Been a
ago.
long day.
Maybe lunch break should have been 45 seconds, but we'll figure it out. This is the first of the year, so any kinks that we have will get straightened out. Unless the cards and heavy hitters are bad, and then we're putting up shop. We're not even gonna do 2 through 7. You know,
Yeah. No blue 6s for Brute means we just
we're
We're
throwing
outta
all the
here.
cameras out, burning our cards.
sending this game back to New Zealand.
No, we won't say. What's cool though is Bravo gets 17 more cards.
Yeah. Some
So he's
people
only
would say
going to
that's
get
cool.
better for any individual decision that he's currently bad at. There'll probably be a new card that he could play. If you're losing to tall cards, you could play stacked in your favor and just block 9 damage with 1 card or
Yeah.
something with like that.
It is
It's
interesting.
only going to get worse for Bravo haters.
The way those new Guardians are built, though, there's a world where they just kind of make cards that don't really fit the Bravo mold because of wage, because of clash, right?
Or overpowered. Does Bravo need an overpower card, or that would be not great? Oh, the number 1 versus the number 2.
It was always going to be this way, Blake.
This is Alan's girlfriend, and super proud of him. And I'm super proud. I didn't see it because the other heart. Thank you for tuning in.
Oh, that's so fun.
Someone will tell Alan, and he'll use that to win the finals and get you some teddy bear money. I don't know if he would buy teddy bears, but
Yeah.
this is a short break. We'll see you immediately afterwards, and there'll be the finals where someone will win it all.
Get ready, y'all. We are back for the final match of January 2024 AGE Open. And what are they playing for, Blake?
A medal. Gen AGE champion.
It's cold foil, too.
So, Eugene.
Ooh, Eugene won against Alan. I heard it took all of 2 turns.
Oh, really?
Apparently, he got Alan down to 29 on
That's all
turn
she wrote?
0, and then down to 1 on his turn.
Jeez. Versus the person you just saw take Azalea down expertly.
Hexpertly.
Yeah, so these guys, I don't know if they played in... They had to have played in the Swiss probably, right? As the final boss for each other.
I don't know. Maybe.
So maybe it's a rematch.
Maybe.
If it's a rematch...
Let's just say it's a rematch and someone's going to win.
If it's a rematch, that means Alan won. So can Alan win again? Or does Eugene... Eugene's smart! Eugene is smart! He's the one who can work at instant speed to put all this... And how many blues could a Bravo have? Not 42 or something. So let's...
Some of them have exactly 42.
Oh, there are 2 buckles in there. I didn't see those. You put them at the bottom.
Boucle.
So this is a Welcome to Wraith mainstay versus the newcomer Arcane.
Arcane Rising, yeah, newcomer, Kano, just fresh out of the latest release from 2020.
Jeez.
Or is it 2019? No, it was 2020.
Probably the early 2020, yeah.
So this should be...
I'm glad we're playing it. I'm glad there was
Interesting.
no, I got to get back. Got a long trip in front of us. We're saying, no, I'd like to play for it. We're going to document this forever. Why even talk about splitting? That's something that always bothered me about other card games. I'm glad we're playing this out.
We always play it out.
We haven't had a scoop in finals yet. That's what I like about AGE.
Yeah, we're here to play. We're here for points. We're here for the glory and the infamy that comes with becoming the AGE champion. Even for one single month, when you rock this,
I think Zayne won the...
When you rock this at the next one, I think so far there's a curse related to it, so you probably shouldn't wear it. But when you do, you look great. So
I think in the background, I saw Zayne have the door prize too. He won,
you got a door prize?
He won like the Mark Poole.
Man wins everything.
Yeah, what the heck? You want to refresh the? What? Let's refresh the timer real quick.
Reset that clock so we can know just how long this game lasts. Will it be long? Will it be short?
This will be a
over under. Price is Right rules.
I will say over under. I'll set you at 14:59.
Oh, I'm gonna say 1 second, Bob.
Jeez. You think it'll be less than 15 minutes?
Could be. Probably not, though. This might be...
I think there'll be some thinking.
I
honestly think Kano's favored because... What are you going to do? Anothos me to death?
I mean, Alan's got Sigil of Solace, which really messed things up. If he's able to just get enough... if he can do a crippling crush, these kind of things can really, and a pummel, like these things can really mess up Kano and threaten so much of his life since he starts at 30. So it's it's going to be a little scary, I think, for Eugene. But Eugene's no slouch.
He's going to pile shuffle into 6 piles.
Is that not the right amount of piles?
That's crazy.
Is it crazy? How many should you do it in?
I usually do 6, but I do them like they're Pokemon prize cards instead of all in one straight line.
What does that mean?
Pokemon prizes.
Draw it out.
Okay, I'll show the chat.
I like the people who like pile shuffle, but they like spread it out like in 2 directions at once. It freaks me out.
This is Pokemon pile shuffle stuff.
This is Pokemon pile shuffle. Oh, that's not that exciting. I thought it was going to be more exciting.
It's just a normal 6. You could say it's like the pips on a die. Alan is on go agains. It races, says somebody in chat. Honestly, these are 2 heroes that have won PTIs in the last month.
Honestly, these are 2 heroes.
This is the heroes you want to be playing. If you play either Kano or Bravo at a high level, get to playing this game in the next month before the heavy hitter cards come out. Because this is a meta that's good for you.
According to Eugene, he says it's a good time for Kano, which means it's probably a bad time now because everyone's going to watch this and say, ooh, I should...
Yeah, you can't fatigue Kano. Yeah, that's not smart. Kano is favored. Kano is favored.
Is it? Kano's Jamaica James is Kano's Cameron, in my opinion, although the current 12 go again build is very nice into Wizard. Yeah, I think it's going to be a bit of, can Alan pull some heat that pressures Eugene, puts him in a corner that he is, has to make tough decisions that might be suboptimal, or is Eugene going to run hot off the top of the deck?
Bryce just shaking everyone's left hand like a psychopath? What the heck was that?
That is a strong word to use about someone.
Shake with your right hand.
We care about
No,
equally.
Bryce is cool. Bryce is cool. Just shake with your right hand, probably.
Why? He had something in his right.
Oh, okay. My bad.
Jeez. KO can't even shake with his right hand.
Oh,
so,
my goodness.
Think about that next
I
time.
forgot to think about that. We got some world-class people in chat sharing
shout out to chat.
information.
Been
Love
with
seeing
us.
that.
Been with us all day, keeping us honest, keeping us entertained, and off the rip, Kano baby, Blue Voltic Bolt. Not super exciting, but it's not that bad. We come in for 3, but he's got Crucible, so it'll be 4.
This is also the two heroes we played our first match against each other.
Who?
Me and you.
Really?
Back in Blitz 2021.
Did I win?
We were at an American Legion in the middle of nowhere. You won. I thought I had you toast, too.
I'm sad I don't remember this as much as you do.
You know what? It matters more.
It was a weird weekend for me.
Here comes the Aether Wave. Weave.
Crucible. Voltic Bolt coming in 4/4. Eugene always hooking it up with the damage dice. Arcane dice. We need to make some cool arcane dice, but there's no symbol for arcane. It's just the word written out. Anyways, leaking 1 damage.
It's a purple sword.
Purple sword. He's also running the spell cloak. What's it called again?
Spellfire Cloak.
Spellfire cloak.
Which means
So-
I basically have a tunic up on my opponent's turn the whole game.
Yeah, which to me means this game might not go very long. So hang in here. Lubers indeed rise up. But I also do like Eugene, so I'm not going to pick a side in this.
That is Lady Luber in chat.
Oh, hell yeah.
Lady
Hell
Luber!
yeah. Lady Luber.
So this is what we mean by the go again build is pretty nice. Of Eugene can't kill him in between, and anytime you leave up cards in hand or you know you're going to be safe with Arcane Barrier because I still have a card represented in my hand where you can't just explode. Alan has already won in Swiss. That was what we were guessing, and it has been confirmed. So 11 damage gone for Eugene. What's really cool about this match once you learn it is Eugene is trying to do damage on his attacking turn because if you let him stack his deck, if you let him do a bunch of damage, that's the worst card to get on your attacking turn, so that sucks. But on the attacking turn, if Alan commits any Arcane Barrier, then Eugene gets 4 more cards to do even more damage on Bravo's attacking turn.
Yeah, he's really looking for a good back-to-back, 1-2 punch on his turn and then Alan's turn if he can get enough cards out of his hand. Fortunately, Alan has a lot of life right now. But, Emeritus Scolding, not the worst. It's still coming in for 5. That's a good amount of damage.
Because it's a red Emeritus.
Yeah, he's got red Emeritus in here. I don't think
Let's go!
He doesn't run the blue ones.
Yeah, you.
Oh, and then
Iceland
Gaze the
players.
Ages. Hell yeah. We'd love that off the Kano activation.
This card's one of the best cards in the
Oh, wait,
game.
no, that wasn't Kano. That was from hand. But it comes back to hand and probably will be pitched for a Kano activation.
I feel like Gaze the Ages is a card to fall in love with if you're trying to figure out a way to tell new players about the game. Of what Gaze the Ages does for Wizard is just so multifaceted and purposeful that it's going to go, wait, what?
Yeah.
And that'll get somebody hooked.
I've said it many times already today, but it is one of the best cards in this whole game. Also teaches you a lot about priority.
Oh.
And resolving of things and when you've played something versus, letting that resolve. Yeah, it's just, you can do fun stuff. It's one of those cards where you're just like, yeah, I do this, and they're just like, wait, what just happened? You're like, wizard shit.
So we're going to go to Arsenal with 3 cards in hand? What does that mean?
It means he probably drew 2 reds or something, and he just can't do what he wants.
Hate to see it.
Yeah, Eugene is not new to this game. He knows that sometimes the cards are just not in his favor.
Would you say he's unflappable?
I don't know. I've never tried to flap him, so I can't speak to that. But he seems pretty cool, calm, collected sort of man. Chokeslam. Coming in.
The line of text means nothing, so we only really care about the damage. We're going to block some. Take 5 more.
Ooh.
I think we know the only thing that punishes us, if you're Eugene, you've already played this matchup. The only thing to put in Arsenal that punishes us is Sigil of Solace. So as long as you can avoid Sigil of Solace in Arsenal, that Arsenal card won't come back to bite you. This is what I'm talking about. Attacking turn, Aether Spindle for 5. Will you let me opt the top 5 cards of the deck? That seems like a very bad idea.
Yes. Although sometimes 5's too many for us lowly mortals. If you've got to look at 5 cards, it can get a little confusing as to what you want to put back on top.
So maybe that's helping. He decides to maybe switch the order, but keep them on top. Those are cards he wants to draw immediately. We're going to assume they're blues, because blues mean activations. Reds are what you want on top when you're activating.
That is correct.
That's the simplest way to put stuff.
So it looks like he's got a piece of his combo in the arsenal already. I feel like it's been sitting there for a second. But this Zealous Belting coming again with Go Again. This is just going to put that pressure that is...
Yeah, we need to start doing damage.
Eugene is going to, if he doesn't block this, he's going to get real close to 1.
Yeah. Because 5 plus 6 is 11.
11 minus 14
but will
is
Allen
-3.
Will Allen commit to a Nothos and basically put shields down when it comes to Arcane Barrier? Or will he say, sure, drawing into these Gogans is pretty good. That's the second Zealous. Pretty good.
Yeah, having those right off the top in the first couple turns is very good for Allen.
So far, so awful for Eugene. If you are rooting for Colin to win the under of 15 minutes, this is working out perfect.
Yeah.
However, most Wizards, what are they called? Kano players. Whenever Kano players have a death turn, they're going to take 15 minutes to see if they actually die. So you forgot about that.
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes you got to sit there and just really math out all your options to see that you're making sure you're getting every point of damage that you can get out of it. So here we go. Allen just extending himself fully. Nothing.
There's no chance.
Nothing to pitch. But does he have a Sigil of Solace in his arsenal? That could be devastation. Eugene just taking it.
Eugene says nothing, which devastating.
Is he going? He's allowing the end of the turn to happen.
That
So,
does not feel good.
I know. I think he's trying to pop off here to get Allen very low. Hopefully, take most of his cards, and then hopefully try to kill him on his next turn.
I'm nervous.
Let's just see Sonic Boom off the top.
That's
Let's
a
go.
Fantastic one.
That's one of my favorite cards. Wizard cards are just fun, man.
Sonic Boom. Flesh and Blood is a fighting game, very different than Street Fighter Sonic Boom. This one's gonna chain into it. No. What does it do off the top?
If it deals arcane damage, you will reveal the top card of your deck. If it is a wizard non-attack action, you may play it if it costs less than or equal to the damage dealt. So basically just kind of combos into the next thing automatically, which, if you're living the dream, is another Sonic Boom, which then does it again. So it can, in it can really enable some really crazy turns, especially like if he's got one in Arsenal or something right now, or, something. It can just do unexpected crazy things. So you always like to see it. It is a bit of a gamble if you don't know what's there. It's unlikely that he would use his ragamuffins to ensure that for this portion of the game. But yeah, he's trying to
What's
figure it out.
Eugene's total he's trying to get Alan to by the end of this turn to have a shot at killing him next turn?
If he's got a combo piece, then he really needs to probably get him to 30. I mean, well, it depends on how many cards he can take out of Alan's hand. If Alan doesn't have any cards, he can do 30 plus damage if he has his combo. So he doesn't have to do a lot, but for every card that he does have to threaten that much more, especially on the wildfire. That initial block just
We have to hope that's a wildfire.
returns, dividends on each activation or arcane spell after that. So
Can you tell us what you felt when you saw Aether Wildfire get spoiled?
I didn't understand how good it was.
Nice.
It had to be shown.
I
I'm
wanna
not.
feel that. I
I'm
want
not
to feel
that
that
kind
when
of player.
these cards come out next week. We're looking at the top. That's an amazing. Did he block any of this, or did he take 4?
No, he took 4.
That's literally one of the best ones you could get.
So Swell Tidings going to come in for 5 for free.
That's disgusting. Good
Yeah.
for you.
I mean, Alan is.
That is the high roll of high rolls.
He's looking confident though. Kind of.
Yeah, I don't think he's changed expression in 6 games. He said, "I'll take that as well." Is that what happened?
Yep, he's down to 26. So that was pretty good for Eugene. He really does need to have at least one of his combo pieces and a bunch of blues in hand because he is very close to just being dominated. But out muscle.
That's a death.
That's out muscle, right?
Yes. Let's go again every single time against Kano Drakai of Aether. This is a... Oh, let's count up how much damage we can do. If you're losing to Kano as a Bravo player, this is the part to pay attention to. What does out muscle do for you? It's always pitch a blue, have 6, threaten some life, and always go again unless they have the block of Nourishing Emptiness. If somehow Eugene has this one copy of Nourishing Emptiness right now, he could block with a spell and Nourishing and stuff this turn, but then
That'd
he
be
loses the pummel, maybe.
It'd be so funny if he had a Nourishing Emptiness to block this. Yeah, I mean, I think Eugene's got to figure out if he can just win the game right here. If Alan has 3 blues, that is pretty much a no, unless some real crazy stuff happens off the top, which of course can with Kano. That's always a possibility, but it's hard to depend on that, so it's hard to make that judgment call. It's really, sometimes you go for it, and it's great, and sometimes you just lose. But here we go. He's going
We
to
are starting the Kano train.
do all of the things.
Welcome. Welcome to the final turn of the game.
All right. He's pitching all his cards. He's going for the combo. We got Ragamuffins. He's going to switch his cards, put his combo piece on top.
What is it?
Banish it. Oh, not even a combo piece. All right, we're going for some shenanigans right here. He put Tome of Aetherwind on top.
We do have some emotion from Alan. He goes, "What is this?"
He said he's feeling a little bit less nervous because this means that Eugene doesn't have it. He's fishing, but man, Kano can fish pretty good.
Is he he's a fish?
Someone taught him how to fish with magic. So we'll see. I don't know. It doesn't look great, but it's at that moment where Eugene is just kind of got to do
More
it.
blue.
He had 2 non-blocking cards in his hand, so he didn't have much choice here.
It's Emeritus. We're going to resolve the Tome of Aetherwind. And look at 2 cards. Maybe these are Nourishing Emptiness.
So he pitched for 2 Kanos, right? So I think he still has another Kano coming.
Yes. Each one of those blues is a activation. We already did one with Tome.
Oh no, he did the Tome was the first one, and then the
Second one's
Meritus was the Meritus. Okay, so he has 2 floating, 2 cards in hand, 1 in arsenal. He's got a resource from his Spellfire Cloak.
If you're sitting at home, go, Eugene. Eugene.
Now we're all gonna watch Eugene do math
Eugene.
inside of his mind.
Eugene. Oh,
You've got this. Dude,
I
you've
feel
got this.
so alive.
Here we go.
Here is an activation.
Get a resource. Is he gonna Kano again? I'm praying to the random universe to provide.
We got some doubters in chat.
To provide. I can't believe those resource dice don't go to 3.
Those are resources? I thought those were Kano activations. I don't know what I'm talking about then. Whoops, sorry, y'all.
No,
I thought those
those are
2 dice.
resources.
All right, Storm Striders.
All right, let's go. Let's see this happen. We got a Ether Wildfire, that's for
Cool.
sure. Yeah, I think we're gonna play this out. Alan's gonna block a lot of it, and then Eugene's not.
He's going to have
making it through
-3.
this.
Aether Wildfire will do 1 damage.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Did he even use his Crucible of Aether Wave? Is that what happened earlier? Aether Dart. That's not going to do 25.
Oh, is that a blue out muscle? It is a blue out muscle, so it's only coming in for 4.
Oh,
So
wow.
he's able to draw cards and then block, but now we're gonna. Oh. Okay, Alan doesn't have anything he can come back in.
Oh, good lord. I thought that
Ooh.
was death.
Woo! Yeah,
We're live. We're live.
I thought that was a red out muscle. So yeah, okay.
All those people that have more information on us because
He-
they can actually see the card.
He's lost a lot of equipment here, though. Eugene's not in a great place, but you know
Draw 2 anyway.
you can't rule Kano out because he can do things that no other hero can. Which that's every hero calling, but
No.
not like Kano. Not like Kano.
this.
Not like this.
Okay. This
All
is uphill times 5.
Ooh. I would say, Alan's got pummel, but it doesn't matter. If Eugene gets
We need
hit,
a domination.
it's probably not good.
We're going to play it safe. Present this. If this can be buffed by pummel, it'll magically go from a 4 damage swing to a 8 to 10 swing. You want to block 8 and hope you stay alive? Take 2 damage, Eugene? Probably not. And Alan can just follow this through the rest of the game and win.
I think it's 10. I think Alan's only got red pummels in his deck. So, will Eugene block this correctly?
I mean, I don't think
Or
he
does
should be
he-
holding any red
does
cards
he-
in his hand if he's Kano, because
Double
he can't
pummel?
play any reds from hand if there's no Storm Striders. Unless Kano 1.
Ooh,
Unless
here we go. Let's start this train up again. Banishes an Ether Flare off of Kano activation. Kano's again. Ooh.
makes a
Makes a
not
grimacing,
great face.
grimacing face. No poker game here. Just does it really matter? Oh, okay. Yeah, Blazing Ether, not the best. It's not going to get you to 25, especially if he's got all these cards in hand. He can block 6. No, if he blocks 6, he's dead. He's just got to go for it.
Ooh. He's blocking. It's only
Right.
1, right?
But if he pays for the pummel, he's got double pummel. Oh, Alan.
That's the winner.
Bloobers rise up indeed.
Bloobers. Lubers.
That was cool. All right. Not a long one, just an easy one.
Interesting game. Interesting game. I think everything Alan put in his deck to clown on this matchup honked its big red horn. You know, the go against with Zealous showed up twice in 3 turns. We didn't have a punish. We showed some weakness. There wasn't a punish. I think there was I'm hoping to get these cards. We didn't get something into our arsenal that really worked out for us.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he had his combo piece in there. So once you do that, you're kind of hamstringed a bit because you don't have the ability to, use your cards as much. Chat pointing out that basically IP'd himself because that sounds funny. It put his own intellect penalty on himself by having a card in hand and an arsenal, not being able to cycle through his cards enough fast enough.
And maybe there's an idea of I want to draw a blue. I have a blue in my hand already.
Yeah.
This is the card I want. Let me give you 3 options to draw the other one. But that is then you're not cycling through your deck. That's the whole point of the argument on that. What we are going to do is probably talk to Alan, unless we talked to him earlier. But we usually talk to everybody no matter what.
Yeah.
We will talk to one of the best Bravos in the world. We'll see you soon. It's over there.
No, it's not.
Oh, my goodness. We got to find his medal.
Oh, my God. We lost the medal.
Okay.
Oh, my God.
See you soon.
Chat.
Short
Where'd the medal go? back. Lubers everywhere. Rise up.
Rise up.
The king is here. He's got the medal ready to go. Wow, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Just showed up and just did it day one.
Yeah, I mean, I just went with the classic, you know, been playing Bravo a while. And
I heard you like Bravo.
I do. It's fun. It's, well, I don't know about fun. It's consistent, and I know what to do. I'll put it that way.
Absolutely. All right. Do you only play Bravo, or you ever play anything else?
I will play around with other decks like online,
Mm-hmm.
at armories when I actually go.
Mhm.
Sometimes I'll play something else, or usually like during RTN season, if I have already qualified, then I'll start playing other decks.
Okay.
I do also, I enjoyed playing Fei back then. Haven't touched him in a while though. Bolton's pretty fun. Dash is pretty fun. Dash
Mhm.
IO is pretty fun. So I just kind of play whatever.
Okay. Well, I guess I have to ask now. Are you excited about any of the new Guardians coming out?
Let's say that. Well, I don't think we've seen enough yet
Okay.
of the spoilers. I definitely think I need to see more before I have a concrete opinion. But I will say it does feel like Betsy is sort of a spiritual successor to Bravo.
Mm-hmm.
Very similar, overpower, cost 2, gets another +1. It's very reminiscent of Bravo. I just worry that eventually when Bravo LLs,
Yeah.
Anathos is gone. And I doubt they'll print a better weapon than Anathos in heavy hitters.
It's
So
pretty good. Yeah, that's a good point. I forgot.
it'll take some time adjusting to that one.
I was, I don't know if this is true. I kind of had a feeling this might be Bravo's last year. Like,
No, I'm almost certain that this year Bravo will LL. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to play with him before he's gone.
totally enjoy it. Have fun, and you're doing great. You're already. I mean, I think if you win one open, you're kind of like
Locked.
you're probably locked for the championship, which means you could play some other decks, but
Yeah, who knows? By then Bravo might be gone, and I might be a shell of my current self.
be a Victor Goldmain, man, and then all hell will break loose. Yeah. All right, but purely based off vibes, you think Betsy, was
Yes, vibes wise, I think Betsy is very similar to Bravo.
All right, cool.
Like I think if you took her, ran Anathos, it would have a very similar vibe.
Mm,
You can play tech if
Yeah.
you're like me. You can play Tunic if you want to play like the value game over time.
Yep.
So it's just very similar.
Nice.
In my opinion.
So I noticed there is a lot go again in your deck. Is that are you normally playing just a little bit more aggressive? Is that for certain matchups? Like,
Yeah, so all the go again is definitely for matchups where I want to be extremely aggressive, like throw my dash if I kind of or I'm hedging for the most part if I don't know if they're boost or if they're playing pistol plan. And then Kano, it's also good in, but I kind of, to be honest, I didn't really think about Kano that much because I kind of just think of it as a pretty unfavored matchup, and you can only put so much Kano hate before your deck just warps into something new. But I ended up playing a lot of them today.
Yeah,
so
for sure, yeah.
all the go again was good, but it's mainly for Dromai.
Okay.
I think that's the one matchup where all the go again really shines, and I feel much more comfortable than if I didn't have them.
Did you see any Dromai today?
I played 2 Dromais.
Okay. What? Who else did you play against?
So,
hero wise.
Going in order, it was Dromai, Kano, Riptide, Kano. Then top 8 was Bravo, Azalea, Kano.
All right.
Yeah.
That's pretty rough. Or Swiss round.
Yeah, if you had showed me
Immediately
that matchup
Dromai.
order before, I would not have been confident that I would win, but I guess I got there.
Hell yeah. So normally going into a Kano matchup, you're not feeling too comfortable.
For the most part, no.
Okay.
I definitely think it's interesting because I don't have that many reps into Kano.
Mm-hmm.
It's just if I run into him at locals or at an event, then I'll just try to learn from that.
Mm-hmm.
And it was interesting because almost all of the Kanos I played today just had like slight differences in how they played the matchup
Mm-hmm.
and whether or not that was successul for them, more or less. I'm not sure because
Yeah.
I'm not the Kano expert, but it just worked out in my favor. I drew decently well. I didn't draw any all 4 red hands versus Kano, which is basically like a death sentence.
Yeah,
so.
totally. Yeah, I hear that. Did you beat the other Kanos you faced too, or did you play Eugene in
Yes,
Swiss?
I played him in Swiss, and then I played him again.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. And you won the first one too?
Yes.
All right. Well, that's not too bad. Yeah, it definitely is. It's always scary going against Kano because they can just. Although when he goes to play Ragamuffins and then plays his tome off the top. I definitely saw some relief spark in you because it was like, oh, okay.
When I saw tome, I was like, if he doesn't draw 2 blues and find more tomes, I should be pretty settled here.
Yeah, totally. It was definitely like, oh, he's either got it, oh no, he's fishing for something, which still means something crazy could happen, but at least.
Honest. The part of that game that scared me the most was when he played Sonic Boom on his turn.
Yeah.
He was already at 3 at that point, and I knew that if I kept my cards, I can push for lethal while only presenting 1 card, the blue out muscle. If he had blocked with 1 card, I could pummel it. Then he has to go off with only 3 cards in hand. Otherwise, he goes off with 4 cards in hand and has to push through. I had a blue and 2 reds left, so 5 extra AB for prevention, split across multiple cards. But yeah, that Sonic Boom could just go crazy.
Yeah.
Like boom into swell tidings, and I would have been sweating for sure.
Yeah, totally.
But I think I just kind of had to. Kano's one of those matches where the game only lasts depending on how defensive Kano is and how defensive Bravo is.
Yeah.
In general, I'm more aggressive, but it can last anywhere from 3 turns to 5, 6 turns, and you just kind of have to make not the gamble, but the expected value play. I
Yeah,
guess.
exactly.
You got to go for the outs and the win. So.
Yeah, you don't want to leave yourself vulnerable, but you still got to push through.
Yeah, you still got to win the game. You can't just do nothing.
Yeah, we were sitting here. We all thought it was a red out muscle, even though I have a list here. It's like, oh, it's not there. But I was like, oh, he's just gonna block, which is always the worst thing. I've definitely done that as a Kano player, where you draw cards and then you're just like, okay, cool, I have cards I can block with now, because I think he had 2 potions in hand too. So it's not a great blocking turn for him, but definitely putting him on the back foot for most of that game. With you just had go again after go again turns. It was just very good for you and rough for him. Awesome. Are you coming back next month?
Probably.
Take a month off?
I am. No, I am. The only thing that worries me is that it's right before RTN.
Okay.
And considering how many RTNs we have down here, it's double headers every weekend.
Yeah.
So maybe Age will be nice for practice, but at the same time, it's if the next 3 weeks are weekends are filled, then maybe I just want to take that off. And
for sure.
relax.
You taking Bravo to RTN?
Probably. Usually when an RTN or PQ season starts, I'll start off with Bravo, try to get an invite, and then if I do, I'll decide if I want to play a different deck, or if I don't, then I just keep trying.
Awesome, dude. Well, anything you want to shout out before we close this out?
Yeah, shout out to my YouTube channel. I haven't posted a video in months, so that's.
But they're always good, so you just wait for them.
Yeah, I think honestly, it just feels like as time has passed, information has become not hidden. Not everyone's not trying to keep everything super hidden, but if I'm testing with team members and they're working on something and I'm making a tier list video, I don't want to be like, oh, I know this hero's good. I see it in action. So then if I feel like I'm being disingenuous, I just don't want to say anything. So
that's fair. You don't want to. You can't give other people secrets out, but you are very generous with your own knowledge of Bravo and stuff. So we always appreciate that. But yeah, check out the Alan Noob's channel. It's always good.
But yeah, other than that, shout out to my girlfriend. She popped on stream. She doesn't know how to play the game, but she was she was like, oh, let's girlfriend. I'm super proud of him. Girlfriend buff for the right before finals.
Hell yeah.
Shout out to Anthony. He always carpools me to these events.
He's got the Honda Pilot buff.
That's the buff. Shout out all the SoCal people, even though I don't go to Armory as much as they would like. Shout out all the NorCal guys. Team Stroop Waffle.
Hell yeah. Honestly, if you can get in Anthony's Honda Pilot, I think the Pilot has won more AGEs than anybody else for sure.
There's something about that car and the 7 leaves before the event.
There you go. That's the real trick. All right. Well, congratulations again. Thanks for coming on, and best of luck in the next AGE Open, and of course, RTN season, everything. Are you doing Pro Tour too? Or are you?
Yes, I'm qualified.
You're qualified. Awesome. Hell yeah. Well, we'll see you there, and good luck there as well. So, thanks everybody. We'll be right back to close out the stream, and we'll be right back. I just said. everybody. We are back. Thank you again for joining us. Blake, thanks for being here with me.
I think it's a great first one. We're
We
going to
did-
do it more times, unless those heavy hitter spoilers are bad. And this will be the last AG ever. If I have anything to
It'll
no,
be
I'm
Blake's last
excited.
AG.
It's gonna be fun. We're all having fun. That was great. I'm glad for anybody that watched today. I want to say thank you for letting us be another option for you to enjoy the game, allowing us to improve your game. I think this is something where I would love to see some of these players tell us what's going on. What's the thought process behind it? Because one of the best things you could do is join a tournament like this. You learn 3 things every time. That's what we're trying to bring to you guys. Of you don't have to pay $40 and fly to where are we at? Redondo Beach. You can watch it on stream and learn a couple things.
That's right. And shout out to all the players here. Just good vibes all day. This room was packed. We had the RCQ for Magic players and then 60-plus players for AGE. So it was very hot, but everybody was having a great time.
Right.
It's always fun. Great community out here.
If you want to keep the vibes rolling, Discord.
Join the Discord.
What do they got? Deck lists,
Show matches.
community events,
And more.
And more.
Invite URL right
just
there.
so you know where we're at.
Yes.
It's Collector Legion.
Shout out
If
to
you want a
Collector
board
Legion.
game and sponsor somebody that directly works with us, go to Collector Legion and buy the board game from them.
They got singles. They got everything. They're just so friendly here. They take good care of us. Very happy always to come down here and do that. So look at our top 8 again.
Bravo.
Good little spread. Bravo showing up very strong right now in this meta. But, great to see some Kanos. Bolton made it in here. We had a Feiyu, Azalea. Pretty good mix overall. But
5
then
out of 8.
5 out of 8 different heroes.
Five. What are they called? Specific, different,
Unique.
unique. 5 unique heroes in the top 8. Love
That's
to see
pretty
it.
good. It's not terrible.
Whew.
But yeah, Bravo strong.
Bravo's super strong. We
Bravo's
got to
super
see somebody win an AGE that hasn't won one before. That continues. I don't know. Do we count? Because what's his face? Anthony Pham won one and then won the championship. So besides the championship, somebody different has won every single AGE.
That's true. The Open Series
So
for
far,
sure.
my favorite fact of this.
What did they win? Points, money. We're giving it all
Stuff
out.
to buy
so
more Bravo cards when they come out in a week.
check out the standings at standings.age.events. If you're curious about deck lists will be coming up and tomorrow as well as the new standings. So check those out. They'll probably get tweeted out too. So follow us over there on the Twitter. They call it something else now, but you know what I'm talking about.
If you can't wait for Alan's winning deck list, you can Venmo me. I did take a picture of it. I am not above accepting money for deck lists.
Yeah.
I'm
Upcoming
below it.
events. We already have these schedules. They're in the book. They're on the website. They can buy tickets. I think February, if you buy soon, we get it. This week is $35. You get an early bird discount. So if you're on the fence and you want to come, you're in the area, jump in now. We did have to cap today because of the other event, but we should have more room next time. So go in and do
Run it
that.
back.
We will see you there. If you want to see Alan's deck list, it's right there. And
Or Venmo me. Come on.
they did. I just assumed they
Oh,
Venmoed
my
you already.
goodness.
So collectively, you should have upwards of $10 or something. Yeah. Shout out to Justin, our producer, benefactor
Christine's
over
pretty
here.
cool.
Shout out to Christine holding down the stream. Shout out to
Oh, their
Haley
names are going to
and
go on the
Jake.
screen later. We don't got to do individual.
the whole
Haley,
crew.
Jake, Bryce, Sam.
Sam, Blake.
Bryce
this
is not
guy.
a psychopath.
That is something you shouldn't have to clarify,
Yeah.
but yes, thank you
Just
for
want to get ahead of it.
just making sure you're getting ahead of
wanna
the
get ahead of it.
controversy that you started.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. If you're still here, thank you. We love you. We'll see you next time. Have fun.
Heavy
and
hitters.
Good games.